Wish you a happy new day. In the thick darkness, the wind howled through the rotten treetops in the middle of the deserted garden. As Hua Tianyu approached Tom, knee step by step. At this moment, she was being guarded by two subordinates. Under the cold moonlight, the hem of her skirt swayed gently with each step. Her voice, full of sarcasm and hidden malicious schemes, rang out. "My good little sister, drink this cup of wine and be on your way." Tom Nee trembled all over, her eyes welling with tears. She looked up at the person before her with an expression of utter disbelief. "I treated you like family. Why are you doing this to me?" Hua Tianyu smirked slightly. Her dark eyes were filled with venomous plots, her words like daggers plunging straight into the heart. "I didn't want to kill you either. But who told you to have such a good fate?" Although her whole body was weak, Tom Nee still tried to muster her strength to resist. Her voice trembled, but was resolute. "But even if I die, the ninth prince will not marry you." Hua Tianyu revealed a triumphant expression, as if she held the world in her hands. "Then you underestimate me too much. I can eliminate Hubei, and I have ways to make the ninth prince use an 8-bearer sedan to bring me home." Tom Nee was stunned, unwilling to believe the cruel truth. She asked chokingly, "You kill my brother?" Triumph was evident in the eyes of that cruel woman. "Anyway, you're about to die. I don't mind telling you. It was also me who poisoned your mother." Hearing this, Tom Nee could no longer control her emotions and began to struggle and scream. "Hua Tianyu, you are so venomous. Even as a ghost, I will not spare you." But the two subordinates showed no mercy, cruelly dragging her to the edge of the well. Hua Tianyu turned her back, leaving behind a cold sentence like a death warrant. "Then go and die. Throw her down." In just a blink of an eye, Tom Nee's frail body was thrown straight down into the pitch-black, lightless well. In the moment of impending death, her final thoughts flashed through her mind like a film in reverse. It turns out everything was fake. "Mother, brother, I'm sorry. It's because I was useless, unable to protect everyone. If I get to live again, all the suffering I've endured, I will definitely repay it tenfold, 100-fold. Suddenly, amidst the bone-chilling water and enveloping darkness, her mother's affectionate voice seemed to echo from a distant place. "Tumni, wake up quickly," she said to herself. It's mother's voice. "Mother, have you come to get me?" Then, her brother's voice also rang out. "Little girl, brother has prepared osmanthus cakes for you. If you don't wake up, I'll give them to the maids to eat." She thought brother has come too. "So cold, my head hurts so much it's about to explode." By some miracle, she slowly opened her eyes. Her teary eyes slowly looked around as she spoke to herself in her heart. "Mother, brother, it's really you." Seeing her awake, her mother emotionally hugged her tightly. "Tumni, na finally way." Her brother, standing beside her, couldn't stop blaming himself. "If I hadn't been so playful and running around, Tom Nee wouldn't have slipped and fallen into the water. It's all my fault." At this moment, Tom Nee was overwhelmed with emotion and burst into tears. "Mother, it's not brother's fault. It's because Tom Nee was naughty. I won't cause trouble anymore." Her mother gently comforted her. "It's good that you're awake. Now, drink your medicine." Tom Nee obediently drank the entire bowl of medicine, her mood becoming cheerful again. "Mother, brother, I'm fine now. You've been here for a long time. You should go back and rest." Her mother tenderly wiped the corner of her mouth and instructed her. "Then you should sleep a little longer. I'll come again in the evening." After everyone had left, Tom Nee called for Lu Peng. "Lu Peng, come in here and comb my hair and change my clothes." Lu Peng immediately appeared and answered yes. Her hair was neatly combed. Tom Nee looked at her appearance in the mirror and couldn't help but think to herself, "Even heaven is helping me, letting me be reborn at the age of 13. Hua Tianyu, Shenrua Shu, I will definitely make you pay a debt of blood with blood. In my past life, I always thought mother was in poor health because she gave birth to me. I was heartbroken for a long time when she passed away. After that, my brother also contracted a plague, and his remains in the estate were even burned to ashes. Because of all this, I became weak, allowing Shun Ruashu and her daughter to bully me. I never would have thought that all of this was their scheme." Her eyes narrowed, determination burning within her like a fire. "First, they burned my brother to death. Then they poisoned my mother. That vicious woman even stole my engagement to the ninth prince. And she cruelly drowned me in a cold well. How can I not hate them? Since heaven has let me be reborn at the age of 13, Hua Tianyu, Shan Ruashu, for the suffering you brought me before, in this life, I will make you pay a debt of blood with blood." With this thought, Tommy picked up a hairpin from the table and quietly tucked it into her sleeve. 2 days later, at the courtyard of old Madame Hua, Tom Ni and her mother walked along the corridor. Hua Tianyu, who was in the courtyard, was startled and frowned, staring in surprise. She wondered to herself, wasn't this damn girl just pulled out of the water 2 days ago? How did she recover so quickly? Hua Tianyu's face was full of pretense as she came over to inquire. I heard little sister just woke up from a serious illness. Why not rest more? Tom Ni replied with a hidden meaning. Hua Tianyu seems to be very concerned about me, doesn't she? Hua Tianyu replied to her, we are sisters of the same root. Of course not letting her finish, she withdrew her hand and stepped forward to perform her greetings. Mother went first. Your daughter pays respects to mother. Next was her. Your granddaughter pays respects to grandmother. The grandmother looked at Tom Ni, also surprised at her quick recovery. You've just recovered. No need to pay so much attention to formalities. Get up quickly. Her mother and Tom Ni bowed their heads in turn. Thank you, mother. Beside her, Tom Ni did the same. Thank you, grandmother. Looking at Tom Ni's demeanor, Hua Tianyu, who was standing to the side, felt a fire burning in her heart. She frowned in annoyance and thought to herself, this damn girl seems to have changed into a different person, daring to speak to me with that attitude. Shun Ruoshu approached and asked with a concerned tone, I heard Tom Ni fell into the water a few days ago. Is everything all right? Tom Ni looked annoyed and thought to herself, I had forgotten. Shun Ruoshu always addresses mother as a sister. How ridiculous. This person is just a concubine-born daughter of the Shun family. I don't know what method she used, but she claimed father had ruined her innocence, so he had to bring her back. It's a pity that father only loves my mother. He only treats Shun Ruoshu with courtesy. Her mother replied gently, it's nothing serious. The doctor said she was just a little frightened and caught a bit of a cold. Hearing this, Shun Ruoshu tried to look concerned. Yue has been telling me to come and check on her. I was just afraid of disturbing Tom Ni's rest. It's fortunate that nothing serious happened to Tom Ni. The grandmother observed the situation and then spoke up. Tom girls should also start learning etiquette. I don't expect you to be as proficient in the 4 arts as you wear, but you must have the basics. Otherwise, you wouldn't end up playing by the water and falling in like today. Her mother immediately replied in a gentle tone. Mother, Tom Ni was just praised by her tutor a few days ago. He said she is naturally intelligent. That fall was just an accident. Tom Ni so chet ho memo the. Reporting to grandmother, mother, Tom Ni was just too bored being alone that day. Lu Peng said the lotus flowers were blooming beautifully, so I went to see them out of curiosity. As a result, at this point, she paused and looked towards Shun Ruoshu with a meaningful smile, which made her feel guilty and think to herself, could this girl know something? Tom Ni's ha'in wali. Ha! Feeling guilty and scared, are we? Her mother, standing beside her, impatiently glared at Shun Ruoshu and then asked Tom Ni. What was the result? Tom Ni concealed the truth and gave a vague answer. As a result, I carelessly fell. Her mother asked again, you were alone? Tom Ni frowned slightly as a thought arose in her heart. Mother is indeed starting to get suspicious. Tom Ni answered with feigned fear. Lu Peng had gone to get a vase from me at that time, so Tom Ni was waiting there alone. The grandmother frowned and spoke angrily. How dare she leave her young mistress alone in a dangerous place? How can Tom girl have such a maid by her side? Her mother replied, this matter is indeed your daughter-in-law's negligence, because I thought Lu Peng was carefully selected by younger sister, who said she was the most agile maid in the mansion and could take good care of Tom Ni. I never expected something like this to happen. Shun Ruoshu pretended to be on the verge of tears and called out softly. Witnessing the drama before her, Tom Ni couldn't help but smirk and think, if I want to eliminate Shun Ruoshu and her daughter, I must first expose their true faces. And making mother suspicious is the first step. The grandmother's voice softened a little as she reminded them. All right, that's enough. Since Tom girl is like this, she should rest. There's no need to come and pay respects to me every day. Tom Ni ziplit happily. Tom Ni thanks grandmother for her concern. The grandmother stood up to leave, giving Tom Ni a meaningful glance before she left. I'm a bit tired too. Ruoshu, help me to my room. I have something to say to you. Everyone else, leave? Shun Ruoshu answered yes. Later, while strolling in the corridor, Suddenly, Hua Tianyu appeared from behind and called out, "Little sister Tom Ni, wait." Tommy turned around and asked, "Is there anything else?" Hua Tianyu presented a small box and explained, "Little sister, this is snow flower brew that Annie collected. She asked me to bring it to you to dispel the cold." Tom Ni maintained a cold attitude and replied, "I don't need it. Besides, there's a difference between the legitimate and the concubine-born. I can't bear you calling me little sister." Hua Tianyu continued to smile and talk, ignoring Tom Ni's feelings. "In any case, it's a small token from Annie. We're just concerned about you." Tom Ni's voice was harsh, her eyes sharp as she looked back. "I'm still young and cannot use this kind of thing." She thought, "I haven't forgotten. In my previous life, it was because of drinking this that I was not only grounded by father, but it also led to rumors that the legitimate daughter of the whole family had a penchant for drinking at young age. In this life, I will absolutely not make the same mistake." Hua Tianyu flew into a rage at Tom Ni's cold and indifferent attitude and screamed, "Hua Tianxin, don't be ungrateful." Tom Ni's expression remained unchanged as she replied in a low voice, "Mind your status. Is this how Annie taught you etiquette?" Hua Tianyu was so angry, she could only utter a single word. "You." Tom Ni smiled, her expression full of challenge. "If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving." Oh, and a friendly reminder. According to the rules of the general's mansion, from now on, when a concubine-born daughter like you sees me, you must kneel and pay respects. As long as I haven't told you to stand up for the rest of your life, you can only kneel and listen to me speak. Hua Tianyu, seething with rage, clutched the medicine box to her chest and cursed under her breath through gritted teeth. "Damn it, you little slut." In Madame Hua's courtyard, on a brilliant morning with sunlight as golden as poured honey, Madame Hua leisurely strolled through the estate with her nanny. The madame's eyes held a hint of contemplation before she spoke softly. "Tom Ni has locked herself in the study for the past 2 days. I don't know what she's plotting." The nanny, walking beside her, with the same calm demeanor she had maintained for years, replied softly, "The legitimate miss must have taken the old madame's words to heart and is studying diligently, waiting for the tutor's next visit to the mansion to bring you more honor." Hearing this, Madame Hua's expression softened somewhat, her lips twitching into a strained smile. It really is difficult for her. The two leisurely entered a quiet hall. The nanny gently pushed open the wooden door while continuing to speak to the madam. "Since the miss woke up, her temperament has changed a lot. I believe that in less than 2 years, she will be able to calm her mind and cultivate her character, her talent surpassing the eldest Mississippi madam." Hua coughed a few times, her voice carrying a hint of a choke. "Cough, cough. I only hope for Tom Ni to have a peaceful life, not to be like me, carrying illness within my body. It's as if I'm about to depart." Her gaze suddenly landed on a hairpin placed carelessly on the table. Her expression changed as she snatched it up in surprise, her anger flaring as she shouted loudly, "Where did this thing come from?" A maidservant standing nearby was so frightened by the shout that she trembled, her body went limp, and she collapsed to the ground, stammering, reporting to Madam, "This servant doesn't know either." The madam glared, her eyes as sharp as a knife, and enunciated each word. "You don't know." The maidservant, terrified, dropped to her knees, her face drained of all color. "This servant remembers now. This servant saw the miss playing here the other day. Perhaps the miss dropped it." Madame Hua's brows furrowed, her voice ringing with authority. "Go and call the miss here." The maidservant quickly replied yes. The nanny slowly stepped forward a few paces, her expression pensive as she gently added, "Madam, throughout the general's mansion, only the legitimate miss can come and go as she pleases." That maid is not lying. It's just that this old servant finds this hairpin very similar to what concubine Shen usually wears. If it belongs to concubine Shen, why would it be in the miss's hands? Not long after, Tom Ni appeared. Before she could say anything, she threw her arms around the madam, her earnest call filled with emotion. "Mother!" The madam's heart softened, and she gently wrapped her arms around her, her gaze gentle and full of affection. "You're so grown up, yet you still like to act spoiled, huh?" Tom Ni looked up at her, her bright eyes sparkling with an innocent smile. "No matter how old Tom Ni gets, I will always be Mother's beloved little kitten." The madam gently stroked her head, her voice stern yet not lacking in affection. "Stop being mischievous. Stand up straight." Without letting Tom Ni notice anything unusual, the madam discreetly glanced at the nanny, giving her a signal. Understanding the signal, the nanny immediately turned to give an order to the maidservant. You, go to the kitchen and bring a brazier and some snacks for the Mississippi. The maidservant acknowledged the order, bowed, and quickly withdrew. Yes. Then, not wasting a moment, the madam presented the hairpin to Tom Nee. Her voice lowered slightly, carrying a probing tone. Tom Nee, do you recognize this hairpin? Tom Nee was startled by the madam's question, but she quickly regained her composure and feigned a counter-question. Oh, why is this hairpin here? She searched her memory and thought to herself, I put this hairpin in the room yesterday, so mother is only just now discovering it. The madam frowned as if she knew exactly what Tom Nee was thinking. It seems Tom Nee really does recognize it. Where did this thing come from? Before the madam could ask, Tom Nee began to explain, I picked this up by the lake. I was going to have Lu Peng take it and ask around, but then I fell into the water and forgot about it. Tom Nee thought it looked quite nice. It must have been dropped by one of the masters in the mansion. I intended to give it to mother last night, but then I forgot. The madam and the nanny exchanged a meaningful look. Seeing this, Tom Nee asked, Mother, is there a problem with this hairpin? The madam's face grew solemn as she thought seriously. The other day, when I spoke with the old madam about Tom Nee falling into the water, Shin Ruoshu's reaction struck me as a bit strange. In that case, this is definitely related to that incident. Tom Nee was still puzzled. Mother, is there a problem with this hairpin? The madam gently placed a hand on her arm, frowning as she asked with a hint of anger. Tom Nee, does that girl Lu Peng bully you in any way? Tom Nee was startled, a little flustered, and answered with a slight tremble in her voice. Sister Lu Peng is usually quite dedicated to me, except when she's busy. Sensing there was more to the story, the madam's voice grew stern as she reprimanded. A mere little maidservant only needs to serve her master with all her heart and soul. What could she possibly be busy with? Tom Nee replied softly to the madam's words. Tommy doesn't know either. I just see the maidservants from the concubine side often coming to talk with Sister Lu Peng. But then again, Sister Lu Peng was originally chosen by the concubine from her side, so her relationship with the sisters over there must be good. Hearing this, the madam was filled with worry and thought. Tom Nee is still young, and she is surrounded by outsiders. This matter must be investigated clearly. Otherwise, how can I be at ease? Tom Nee paused for a moment, searching her memory. She analyzed the details in her mind. I did indeed pick up that hairpin, but not on the day I fell into the water. I found it by chance a month ago. Knowing mother's temperament, if I directly say that Shan Ruoshu is a problem, mother definitely won't believe me. It's better to use this object to gradually build up mother's suspicion. Once mother is on her guard, it won't be so simple for Shan Ruoshu to harm her anymore. Tom Nee nestled in the madam's arms, sniffling as she said softly, Mother, if there's nothing else, Tom Nee will go outside now. Madam Ho replied, Go on, cough, cough. Seeing the madam coughing like that, Tom Nee couldn't bear to leave and held back, asking with concern, Mother, are you all right? Let Tom Nee go call a doctor. The madam stopped her. Don't go. You know your mother's constitution. A slight breeze is enough to make me ill. It's an old ailment of many years. Countless doctors have seen it and can do nothing. I'll recover on my own after a few days of rest. Her sparkling eyes, filled with love, looked at the madam, mother. Seeing her like a whining puppy, the madam could only pat her head and smile. Don't cry. Mother is fine. Just go outside. Mother should rest now. A moment later, outside. As Tom Nee walked, she reviewed all the events in her mind, her heart filled with great determination. In my past life, Shun Ruoshu was always secretly poisoning mother. The poison was colorless and tasteless, and it didn't kill immediately. But once it entered the vital organs, not even the gods could do anything. Now, thanks to my rebirth, I also have a basic understanding of medicine. I must quickly prepare an antidote and completely detoxify mother's body. As she was walking, she suddenly heard the whispering gossip of two maidservants. Have you heard? The plague from the northern border has spread to the capital. Quite a few people have already been infected. The other one exclaimed in surprise, Is it that serious? Then is our general's mansion okay? The first maidservant quickly replied, Who knows? We have to take precautions anyway. Once you catch it, it's a death sentence. The other one grew fearful. From what you're saying, the general's mansion isn't safe right now either. Oh, what should we do? As Tom Nee stood there listening, Liu Pang approached to reassure her. Miss, don't listen to the household servant's nonsense. Even the emperor hasn't issued any decree yet, let alone our general's mansion. Hey miss, where you going? Tom Nee ran straight off, leaving Liu Pang unable to react in time. She ran to the door of Hua Bei's room and threw it open with a bang, causing him to look out in surprise and ask, "What's wrong, Tom Nee?" Seeing her brother, she finally felt relieved and let out a sigh. Her brother came over, placed a hand on her head, and asked, "What's the matter? Haven't you been in your room, reading for the past few days? Why did you suddenly come to my place?" She looked up and replied, "Brother, I heard the plague is spread to the capital. I am scared." Her brother immediately denied it. "Don't talk nonsense. We'll be fine." Her eyes fell. I just came to remind brother not to wander around for the next 2 days." Seeing his little sister's unhappy mood, he knelt down to look at her face. He gently touched her small nose to reassure her. "Don't worry, I'll just stay in the mansion for the next 2 days. I won't go anywhere." She cheered up and replied. That evening, as she was reading, Su Xing suddenly rushed in, her voice urgent as she reported the news. "Miss, it's bad, the young master has been." Although she had tried every way to prevent it, this news was still a devastating blow to her. Haunted and devastated, she clamped her hands over her ears and thought to herself, "In my past life, brother died because he caught the plague. I was so careful to take precautions. How could brother still get it? No, I absolutely will not let that happen. Absolutely not." At this thought, tears welled up in the corners of her eyes. Seeing this, Su Xing quickly came closer to comfort her. "Miss, don't worry. They've already sent for a doctor for the young master over there. You should be fine." Tom Nee's voice trembled as she spoke. "You're right, brother will be fine. I won't let anything happen to him. Quick, bring my things. I have to go over there and see." Immediately after, she arrived at her brother's door. As she was about to step inside, a guard blocked her. "Wait." Tom Nee glared coldly and asked, "What do you think you're doing?" He replied, "Legitimate, miss. The master has given an order. No one is allowed to enter." Tom Nee inquired, "Where's my father?" The guard replied, "The master and the madam are both in the study." A moment later, standing before the study door, she heard the madam's pleading voice. "Shoching, Bayer is still young. If we send him to that other estate without anyone to care for him, will my Bayer be left with no chance of survival?" Curious, Tom Nee peeked inside through the crack in the door. She saw her father sitting beside her mother, comforting and soothing her. "Muchio, don't cry. I promise you, I won't send him anywhere." Shinruashu was also there and immediately interjected with a frown. "Shoching, how can that be? You know that I am now carrying your flesh and blood. If the young master passes the plague to me and you are, then how are we supposed to live?" Angered, Madame Ho retorted, "Little sister, what do you mean by that? Your child is alive, so is Bayer not?" "Hit a nerve," Shunruashu stammered, unable to speak. "Elder sister, Seeing the tense situation, Shoching waved his hand and gave a decisive order. "Say no more. Butler, quarantine the rear courtyard. Let Bayer stay in the rear courtyard." And he announced firmly, "From now on, no one is allowed to mention sending Bayer away." Shinruashu was furious, her lips pursed tightly. Unable to do anything, she could only think to herself, "Hua Shoching, the more you protect them, the more I won't let them live in peace. Don't blame me for being vicious." Tom Nee leaned against the door and breathed a sigh of relief, as if a weight had been lifted from her heart. Luckily, they haven't sent older brother away yet. She rallied her spirits. "It seems I must quickly concoct the antidote." Suddenly, Shanruashu's appearance startled her, and she retreated into a corner to observe. The following is a complete and accurate transcription of the speech in the audio segment. Shinruashu called for a maidservant. "Prepare some things. I must go pay my respects to the old madam." The maidservant bowed her head and accepted the order. "Yes." Hearing this, Tom Nee frowned and pondered. "So she wants to bring the old madam into this. In that case, wouldn't older brother? How hateful." Later, at the old madam's room, Tom Nee peeked in from outside and witnessed Shinruashu kneeling and making a scene. "Old madam, you must seek justice for your daughter-in-law." The old madam said worriedly, "Ruashu, what are you doing? You're a child. Get up quickly." Shinruashu looked up at the old madam with teary eyes, trying to gain her sympathy as she spoke. "Old madam, young master Bei has contracted the plague." Hearing this, the old madam frowned and replied calmly, "I've already heard about this matter." Shinruashu put on a pitiful, weeping act, clutching the old madam's leg as she lamented. "Old madam, It's not that I am unreasonable, but the plague came too suddenly. Anyone who comes into contact with it can be infected. The master originally intended to send the young master to the manor, but older sister did not agree. The master had no choice but to compromise. I wanted to persuade him, but the master wouldn't listen and even scolded me. Although the rear courtyard has been sealed off, what about the hundreds of lives in the whole family and my unborn child? Hearing this, the old madam slammed her hand on the table and shouted loudly, "Foolish! How foolish! Quickly, summon a master here." A maidservant quickly responded to the order. Yes. A short while later, summoned by the order, Hua, Shouqing, and Shinmuchio were present to pay their respects to the old madam. Your son pays his respects to mother. Your daughter-in-law pays her respects to mother. Without a word, the old madam spoke loudly, getting straight to the point. Pay respects? I'm afraid what you really want is to give me no peace. Hua Shouqing was completely bewildered by her actions and words. Mother, what do you mean by that? Your son and Muchio both wish for mother to live a long life in peace and prosperity. The old madam replied with a hidden meaning in her words. I'm only afraid that while you have me in your heart, others do not. Shinmuchio, trembling with fear, spoke up. I have always been loyal and filial to mother. I hope mother understands. The old madam held a grudge against her and replied harshly. Well said, but if you wish me well, why did you stop the master from sending Bayer to the manor? I see you are usually gentle and virtuous. Why do you become so foolish the moment something happens? Shinmuchio lowered her head and stammered. Before she could finish, the old madam gave an order. That's enough. Tonicht, you will pack Baya es Lukgaja. Tomorrow, have a carriage take Bayer to the manor. Invite a few highly skilled physicians to take care of him. Her words were like a bolt from the blue, making it difficult for the two of them to accept. Hua Shouqing spoke up in protest. Mother, everyone there is infected. If we send Bayer there, what chance of survival will he have? Beside him, Shinmuchio cried ceaselessly, begging. Mother, please reconsider. The old madam tried to defend her point of view. Not listening to a single word they said, she frowned and said loudly, Enough. This matter is decided. Someone, escort the master and madam to rest. Hua Shouqing helped Shinmuchio away, letting out a helpless sigh before leaving. A maidservant was already waiting at the door to follow the old madam's command. Master, madam, please. At this moment, Shun Roashu walked out from inside, her face full of triumph, as everything had gone according to her plan. Mother, please rest. Your daughter-in-law will not disturb you any longer. The old madam said nothing more, only responding coldly. Go. She left with a sinister smile on her lips, her heart full of schemes. Shinmuchio, without Huatianbei, let's see what you have to fight me with. Tomni witnessed everything, her heart filled with anger as she clenched her fists, cursing that woman's name in her heart. Shunruashu. The next day, before setting off, Madame Shinmuchio took a few seconds to express her feelings. My ill-fated children, first it was Bayer, and now Tomni too. What did mother do wrong for you to suffer such a fate? Tomni spoke up to soothe the madam's heart. Mother, don't cry. It's not like we won't be coming back. Tomni took out a small sachet and handed it to the madam. Tomni embroidis. Inside, there are some calming medicinal herbs. Mother, remember to carry it with you. When you miss Tomni, take it out and look at it, and it will be as if Tomni is always by mother's side. Tomni thought to herself, a few days ago in the study, I managed to make a little and put it in the embroidered sachet. Although it can't cure the root cause, it can slow down the poison in mother's body. Mother must not throw it away. Huatianbei coughed a few times and tried to urge his mother to stay. Mother, rest assured, I will take care of Tomni. It's windy outside, and mother is not well, so please go back quickly. At this point, 2 streams of tears were already rolling down the madam's cheeks. She sorrowfully accepted and replied, After a long journey, they finally arrived. Tomni gently tended to her older brother on the bed. The journey was arduous. Older brother, you should rest now. I'll go see how the servants have arranged things. Her older brother constantly showed concern for his little sister beside him. Tomni, don't let yourself get too tired either. Tomni zipli desi sivin. Okay. Later, while resting in the study, Tomni reviewed the events that had occurred and couldn't stop thinking. No wonder I felt dizzy. It turns out I'm also infected. I never expected that faking an illness would lead to catching the plague for real. This plague mainly causes high fever and then a coma. In mild cases, it takes 3 to 5 days. In severe cases, one loses their life in half a month. Her situation grew tense. Her hands clenched tightly as she thought of her sick older brother, her heart aching. Older brother's illness is severe, and he's only able to stay conscious thanks to medicine. If I were to fall ill, the two of us truly wouldn't be able to return. No, I must find a way to create a medicinal formula. Suddenly, the door creaked open and an old master entered, accompanied by 2 maidservants. The old master spoke. "Eldest miss, these are the medicinal ingredients you need." As if finding a new light in her life, Tom Nee smiled and replied, "Thank you for your hard work, sir. Just leave the things there." She bent down to write something, thinking to herself, "The medicinal formula is good, but it's still missing one type of ingredient." While the old master was still there, Tom Nee spoke up hastily. "Sir, please wait. I want to ask something. Have you ever seen this before?" Picking up the sketch of the medicinal ingredient, the old master pondered for a moment before replying. "This looks a bit familiar. If I'm not mistaken, I've seen it on the back mountain before." Tom Nee, slightly agitated, shot up and asked in a firm voice, "Sir, are you sure you saw it on the back mountain?" The old master hesitated. It was indeed on the back mountain, but why does the young miss ask about this? Tom Nee didn't answer, but hurriedly left, not forgetting to instruct the 2 maidservants. "You 2 stay here and take good care of my older brother. I'm going to back mountain for a bit." The 2 maidservants bowed in unison and replied, "Yes." The search continued until dusk began to fall. Tom Nee panted and thought to herself, "The sun is about to set, but I can't see any honeysuckle. Could the sir have remembered wrong?" In her most helpless and disappointed moment, a sparkling cluster of flowers caught her eye, causing her to mutter in astonishment. That is, unable to hide her emotions, Tom Nee quickly ran in that direction, her heart pounding with excitement. "I finally found it, what a struggle." But unexpectedly, a large, jade-green snake appeared. It hissed, baring its sharp fangs, which startled her so much she tripped on a rock and let out a loud cry. Her cry echoed through the area. Not far away, the 9th prince heard the scream and asked with curiosity, "Ajang, did you hear something?" Ajang frowned, making a guess. "It sounds like a child's voice, but in a desolate mountain like this, where would a child come from?" "Zhanglang Bunda. Perhaps it's a wild beast." Ajang spoke up worriedly. "Master, perhaps we should get going quickly. If we delay any longer, I'm afraid you will." The sky quickly turned to an ashen gray. Darkness began to swallow everything, step by step. Tom Nee stirred slightly, a weak moan escaping her lips. She slowly regained consciousness after her fall earlier. Rubbing her temples, she whimpered softly, "Ugh." It hurt so much. A sense of unease still clung to her, especially the image of the giant python, which seemed to be lurking somewhere nearby. Groping around, she discovered a small cave nearby and quickly ducked inside to take temporary shelter. Even so, Tom Nee was still uneasy. She cautiously peeked her head out to observe, a thought rising in her mind. This mountain cave is really dark. That python probably didn't follow me, right? After fumbling around for a while, she finally found an exit, so exhausted that she sighed in relief. "I'm finally out. It's almost dark in the blink of an eye. I wonder if older brother is awake yet? No, I must quickly find the honeysuckle." Suddenly, a nearby cluster of flowers glowed brilliantly, attracting her attention. Tom Nee joyfully ran towards it, cheering inwardly. "Honeysuckle, it really is honeysuckle. With this, older brother can be saved." When she returned, the first person she met was the old master. Without taking a rest, she hurriedly handed the bundle of herbs to him and instructed, "I'll have to trouble you, sir, to dry this and then brew it with the medicinal ingredients I wrote down." The old master asked curiously, "What is this?" He picked it up, smelled it, and examined it for a moment before speaking. "This flower has a light fragrance, a sweet but slightly bitter taste. The eldest miss told me to mix it into the medicinal ingredients. Could it be?" Tom Nee shyly turned away, covering her face as she replied, "Sir's guess is correct. This has the effect of clearing heat and detoxifying. It can be used to deal with this plague." The old master's eyes shone brighter than stars as he replied, "The eldest miss is truly worthy of being the Grand Mansion's young miss. I have truly never known of such knowledge. I will go brew the medicine right away. After her older brother drank the medicine, his complexion looked brighter, causing Tom Ni to exclaim with joy. After drinking the medicine, older brother's complexion looks much better. Maybe in 2 days, he'll be able to get out of bed. Her older brother quietly looked at his younger sister, his eyes full of affection. He gently stroked her head and said, "You've worked hard, Tom Ni. Older brother promises you that when I get well, whatever Tom Ni wants to do, I will do it with you." She laughed mischievously, her eyes sparkling brightly. "Then Tom Ni wants to fly a paper kite. Can older brother make one for Tom Ni?" Her older brother also smiled, the corners of his eyes curving like a crescent moon. "As long as it's what Tom Ni wants, older brother will make it for you." Unable to contain her emotions, Tom Ni threw herself into her older brother's arms, hugging him tightly. Older brother is the best. A few days later, Tom Ni and her older brother were out for a stroll. Seeing her older brother playing happily, Tom Ni's heart felt much lighter. Tom Ni thought to herself, after 2 days, older brother's health is much better. Even the infected people in the manor, after taking the medicine, their conditions have also improved. Perhaps after recuperating here for a while, older brother and I can return to the general's mansion. While she was lost in thought, her older brother came over, handed her the kite string, and said, "Tom Ni, you give it a try." Tom Ni played happily and even teased her older brother back. "Older brother, look, Tom Ni will definitely fly it higher than you." But suddenly, the kite unfortunately got stuck on a treetop, making Tom Ni flustered. "Oh no, my paper kite." Her older brother didn't blame her, just smiled and gently patted her head. "Ha, tamnis shall kum si. Hold this, let me go get it for you." Her older brother nimbly climbed up the tree. Tom Ni worriedly reminded him from below, "Older brother, don't go. The tree is very tall. It's dangerous." Her older brother calmly replied, "Tam Ni, don't worry, for better or worse. Your older brother is the legitimate son of the general's mansion. How could a trivial matter like this trouble me?" Tom Ni was still not at ease. "Older brother, you still have to be careful." Suddenly, her older brother spotted something in the distance and called out, "Tom Ni, it looks like there are 2 people who have fainted up ahead." Quickly, her older brother and Tom Ni approached the spot. After observing, Tom Ni spoke up, "Older brother, these 2 people are dressed unusually, not like the people from around here. Or maybe, let's have the steward come and handle it." Her older brother slowly replied, "Indeed, they're not from the manor. Look at this man in black. Doesn't he look like a palace guard?" Tom Ni moved closer and lightly touched the person's shoulder to get a better look. She thought to herself, if he's a palace guard, then this man in white. When she looked closely at the person's face, she was startled for a moment and thought, "The 9th prince. In my past life, Shun Ruashu laid a deadly hand on me because of him. I didn't expect to run into him so soon." Her older brother put his hand to the 9th prince's nose to check his breathing and said, "Still breathing? He must have just fainted." Tom Ni stared intently and then spoke, "Older brother, look at their complexions. Could it be that they've been infected with the plague? Let's take them back. There are medicinal herbs in the manor. We can save them." Her older brother smiled, praising his little sister's kind heart profusely. Tom Ni is still the most thoughtful. Tom Ni is the kindest. Quickly, her older brother carried the 9th prince on his back and headed back to the manor. Tom Ni smirked as if she had achieved her goal and thought, "He is, after all, the current 9th prince. How could you dare not to save him?" Later, the 9th prince was in the residence. Words of introduction about him lingered in the air. Dan Lang, the current 9th prince, son of the imperial consort. Gifted with extraordinary talent since childhood and a handsome appearance, he is deeply favored by the emperor. Then he slowly woke up, his hand fumbling around as if searching for something. He picked up a black tuft and wondered, "What is this?" He looked over in surprise. At the same time, Tom Ni woke up and shouted angrily, "You lecher, what are you doing pulling my hair?" He then sat up unhurriedly and retorted with a sharp tongue, "Ha, little girl, you're interesting. I just accidentally touched your hair. How did that make me a lecher?" Tom Ni stretched and replied lightly, "It's broad daylight, young master. Please have some self-respect. However, hearing you talk with such energy, your strength must have recovered quite a bit, right?" The 9th prince stared at her and asked, "So you're saying it was you, little girl, who saved this?" "Cough, cough, save me?" Tom Nee shyly looked away, avoiding his gaze. To be precise, my older brother saved you. As for me, at most I just discovered you and your guard passed out on the roadside. The ninth prince was surprised and asked in return, "Guard, you know who I am?" Tom Nee confidently and frankly replied, "The jade pendant you're wearing is of superior quality. It's engraved with the character 49 and has a dragon pattern on the back. One look, and I knew it belongs to someone from the imperial family. Tell me, did I guess right?" The ninth prince. The ninth prince held the jade pendant in his hand and quietly praised her. "Little girl, you have a good eye. You know about jade and can even deduce things. You must not have been born into a minor household." Tom Nee proudly introduced her identity to him. "I am the legitimate daughter of the Hua family in the capital. Hua, Tianxin. My older brother and I were infected with the plague, so we had to come here to recuperate." Hearing this, the ninth prince smirked slightly. "Oh, so you're from the Hua family." Tom Nee tilted her head, confused by the ninth prince's words. "What's wrong with being from the Hua family?" The ninth prince chuckled and replied with a hidden meaning. "Nothing. By the way, what did you give me to drink?" Before, my illness had clearly seeped into my bones, but in the blink of an eye, I'm much better. This medicinal formula is so miraculous. Tom Nee walked towards the tea table while replying to him. "The formula was made by the physician. How would I know what's inside?" The ninth prince was determined to find out the truth of the matter. "Then take me to see the physician." Tom Nee pouted, but still had to comply with his request. Later, she led the ninth prince to an old master who was reading in the garden. Her voice echoed, startling the old master for a moment. "Old master." Seeing the ninth prince arrive, the old master immediately stood up, bowed, and greeted him. The ninth prince returned the courtesy and didn't forget to ask directly, "I heard that the medicine used by the people in the residence was prepared by you." Tom Nee, standing behind the ninth prince, made hand signals, but the old master sighed internally. "I'm old and my eyes are blurry, so I had to answer the ninth prince directly. This medicinal formula was prepared by our eldest Mississippian side. There is a crucial medicinal catalyst, honeysuckle, which was also retrieved from the back mountain by the eldest miss, regardless of the danger." Tom Nee felt as if she'd been struck by lightning and mumbled, "I'm doomed. It was exposed in the end." The ninth prince tilted his head and asked Tom Nee, "Little girl, shouldn't you give me an explanation?" Tom Nee tried to evade, backing away, but the ninth prince moved closer, speaking with a hint of reproach as he advanced. "Deceiving a prince is no laughing matter. I was just joking." The ninth prince leaned down slightly to look at her and slowly opened his mouth. "However, this joke of yours, this prince doesn't find it the least bit funny." The extremely close distance made Tom Nee's heart a tangled mess. "I'm doomed. Could this guy be truly angry?" From a distance, Hua Tianbei approached and bowed in greeting. This commoner pays his respects to the ninth prince. Seeing her older brother, she immediately straightened up and ran to hug his arm joyfully. "Older brother, you're here." The ninth prince spoke. "I saw you at the hunting grounds before. I didn't expect you to be this little girl's older brother." Tianbei replied, "Tom Nee has a mischievous nature. If she has been inappropriate in any way, I ask the ninth prince not to hold it against a child." The ninth prince became pensive again. "How could I? This little girl is very interesting. She is clearly young, but she is much more sensible than others her age." Her older brother was a little surprised by Tom Nee's change. "My little sister fell into the water a few days ago. When she woke up, it was as if she had become a different person. Normally, she's quite adorable." Hearing this, the ninth prince closed his eyes, lost in thought. "No wonder this little girl is so wary of me. It turns out she has a past. This is truly getting more and more interesting. Get straight, I'm wary of you because you're the ninth prince." Without beating around the bush, the ninth prince made a proposal. "I want to bring this little girl's medicinal formula back to the capital, hoping to save more people." Tianbei was a bit hesitant about this condition. This matter benefits the country and its people. This commoner has no objection. However, Tom Nee said this medicine is still in the experimental stage, so... Seeing the worry in her older brother's heart, Tom Nee hugged his arm and affirmed with certainty, "Older brother, rest assured, the old physician and I have already modified it to create a new formula. I will write it down for the ninth prince in a moment." But inwardly, she was extremely annoyed. This guy is too shameless. He takes the medicine and even demands the formula. As expected of someone from the imperial family, to speak of such blatant robbery in such a righteous manner. "I am truly impressed." The ninth prince replied happily, "Then I'll have to trouble you, little girl." Tom Nee smiled on the outside, but was furious on the inside. To be of service to the ninth prince is no trouble at all, no trouble at all. Big shot. Since you've already said so, how would I dare to complain? The ninth prince praised her kind heart. That's good then. I'm not feeling well, so I'll go back and rest first. You two can continue talking. After speaking, he turned and left. Her older brother then spoke up. Tom Nee, a letter came from the mansion. It says mother is gravely ill and tells us to return to the capital tomorrow morning. Hearing this news, she was stunned on the spot, as if she couldn't believe her ears. Eldest miss, the carriage is ready. The young master is also waiting outside. Tianxin stepped out. She thought, I received mother's letter yesterday, which made me worry all night. I don't know how mother's condition is now. She walked over and pushed open the door. Many people were gathered outside. Tianxin was bewildered. What is this about? A man spoke up. Eldest miss, we heard you are returning to the capital today, so we came to see you off. A woman holding a child in her arms said happily. Thankfully, the eldest miss prepared the medicinal formula, which saved my child. An old man also clasped his hands in thanks. The eldest miss is truly the kindest person in the world, like a living bodhisattva. This old man, on behalf of the entire village, thanks you for this great kindness. After saying that, he knelt down. Tianxin was surprised to see this. You shouldn't. She quickly helped the old man up. Old sir, please get up quickly. A man holding a duck smiled brightly. Our village is small and has nothing valuable. This is a token of the villagers' appreciation. I hope the eldest miss won't mind. Tianxin quickly waved her hands to refuse. She said to everyone, Village chief uncle, you're too kind. I accept everyone's kind intentions, but I cannot take these things. There's a plague right now. Life isn't easy for anyone. You should all take them back. But before she could continue, a voice called out. Tianbei smiled and reminded her. It's time to go. Tianxin turned her head and waved goodbye to everyone. I have to go now. In the future, if anyone needs anything, go to the manor and find the steward. After getting on the carriage, she still turned back to wave goodbye to everyone. The carriage carrying the siblings Tianbei and Tianxin rumbled along. Tianbei spoke up. We won't reach the capital until the afternoon. Tom Nee, you should go inside the carriage and sleep. Tianxin yawned and replied, okay. Suddenly, Tianxin screamed, inside the carriage. Dam Lang, holding a fan, said calmly, Good morning, little girl. Tianxin was shocked. Are you a ghost? What did you get in here? She turned to ask Tianbei suspiciously. Older brother, what is this all about? He smiled and replied, The ninth prince heard I was returning to the capital this morning and offered to come along. It was on my way, and besides, we get a free driver. Hearing this, Tianxin was exasperated. Older brother, for better or worse, you are the legitimate son of the general's mansion. Since when can't you even find a carriage driver? Hearing this, Dan Lang spoke nonchalantly. Frugality has always been a virtue of our nation. Besides, you have this prince and my guard accompanying you. His tone was serious. Little girl, could it be that you are still not satisfied? Tianxin immediately smiled and replied, I'm so grateful I could cry. How can I not be satisfied? The ninth prince is joking. Outside, Tianbei heard their conversation and was pleased. Seeing Tom Nee and the ninth prince like this, your older brother can rest assured. The journey is still long. You two should get some rest. Having arrived at the capital city, Dan Lang bid farewell to Tianxin. Little girl, I'm leaving now. She replied cheerfully, Take care, ninth prince. But inwardly, she muttered resentfully, Hurry up and disappear, please. In the future, don't show up unless it's important. I'll be grateful to 18 generations of your ancestors. Dan Lang suddenly placed his hand on her head. Silly girl, look at you, unable to part with me. Wait for me. I'll come find you when I have free time. Tianxin was surprised. Seeing this, Tianbei smiled. The ninth prince is truly kind. Tianxin blushed and walked away, her tone angry. Whether he's kind or not has nothing to do with me. Seeing this, Tianbei was bewildered and didn't understand. I didn't say anything. Why did she suddenly get angry? In the imperial study, the emperor spoke up and asked, Wasn't ninth son supposed to return to the capital today? Why is there still no news? The servant replied respectfully, This servant will go and inquire. Just then, Dan Lang returned. Father Emperor, your son has returned late. He cupped his hands. Please forgive me, Father Emperor. The emperor said, As long as you are all right, rise. Dan Lang held a piece of paper in his hand, looking pleased. Father Emperor, your son was infected with the plague while on inspection a few days ago. I thought I would never see you and Mother Consort again. Unexpectedly, it was a blessing in disguise, and I even obtained a prescription that can cure the plague. The emperor took the paper to examine it, then ordered, "Go, summon the imperial physicians to examine it." The imperial physicians arrived and took turns examining the paper. The emperor asked them, "My dear ministers, what is your conclusion?" One imperial physician replied respectfully, "Reporting to your majesty, after discussion, your subjects believe this prescription is worth trying. However, there is one medicinal herb within it that we're not familiar with, and it is not sold publicly." He narrowed his eyes. "Your subject wishes to meet the master who developed this prescription." Hearing this, the emperor turned to ask Dan Lang, "Old Ninth, where is the master who created this prescription?" He replied cheerfully, "She is the legitimate daughter of the general's mansion, Hua Tianxin." Hearing this, the imperial physicians were astonished. The legitimate daughter of General Hua? Isn't she just a young girl of 13? The younger generation is truly formidable, truly formidable. The emperor stroked his beard and remarked, "Hua Shouqing has raised a fine daughter. To have such an achievement at such a young age, she is indeed worthy of being the girl your mother consort has taken a liking to." Dan Lang was puzzled. What does this have to do with Mother Consort? The emperor coughed lightly twice and then explained. "Actually, you and the legitimate daughter of the Hua family have had a marriage pact since childhood. We were planning to tell you once the girl was a little older. Who would have known you two were fated to meet so early?" Dan Lang smiled. "So it turns out this little girl and I have such a connection." Meanwhile, at the Hua residence, 2 guards blocked the siblings Tianbei and Tianxin. The madam has ordered that with the plague rampant, no miscellaneous people are allowed into the mansion. Tianxin frowned. "Which madam gave you the audacity to block the legitimate son and daughter of the Hua mansion outside?" One of them answered, "The second madam, of course. The first madam has long since stopped managing affairs." The other one added, "Besides, the first madam has someone who is infected. She has been taken to the isolation courtyard and basically won't be coming back alive." Tianbei said angrily, "I don't care if you believe it or not. I must enter the general's mansion." The 2 guards immediately pointed their blades at the pair. "If you really are the legitimate young miss and young master, then we have all the more reason not to let you in. If you dare to force your way in, we won't be polite." Suddenly, a sword strike appeared from nowhere, knocking down the 2 guards. The guard gritted his teeth. "Who dares to trespass into the Hua mansion? Believe it or not, my master and madam will throw you in the great prison." Dan Lang walked over, sword in hand. Today, this young master has truly seen what it means for a dog to bully others using its master's power. He looked at the 2 guards with a cold gaze. Hua Shouqing appeared and shouted loudly, "Stop!" He knelt and cupped his hands in greeting. "Your subject pays respect to His Highness, the 9th Prince." Hearing this, the guard was stunned. Dan Lang turned his head and said coldly, "A concubine is in charge, while the legitimate son and daughter are blocked at the door." "Lord Hua, you truly are the first of your kind in this dynasty." Shouqing ordered, "Men, seize these 2 fools who don't know their place and give them 100 lashes." The guard from before was dragged away, struggling and begging. "General, this servant was blind. This servant knows his mistake. Please spare my life, spare my life." After dealing with the guard, Shouqing turned, cupped his hands respectfully, and said to Dan Lang, "I have made a fool of myself before your highness. May I ask what brings your highness to the Hua mansion this time?" Dan Lang said coldly, "I am here on imperial orders, of course. Young Miss Hua has developed a cure for the plague, and Father Emperor wishes to see her." Hearing this, Shouqing was surprised. Dan Lang turned and said gently to Tianxin, "Let's go, little girl." She hesitated. Seeing this, Tianbei patted her head. "If it's an imperial decree, you should go with the 9th Prince. Just leave it to me to visit Mother." In the end, Tianxin followed Dan Lang to the palace. Tianxin turned her head to look at Shouqing, who was bowing in farewell, and thought with a dark expression, "If Father hadn't insisted on marrying concubine Shin back then, Mother wouldn't be in this situation now. In the end, it's still because you failed to protect Mother." In an imperial study, Tianxin cupped her hands respectfully. "Your subject pays her respects to your majesty." The emperor spoke. "We heard from 9th Son that you formulated the prescription to treat this plague. We see that you are quite knowledgeable for someone so young. Tianxin cupped her hands and replied, "Reporting to your majesty. This prescription was copied by your subject from an ancient text. I only wanted to take a gamble, but unexpectedly, it succeeded." The emperor was skeptical. "Oh," the imperial physician thought to himself. "This reason sounds plausible. A 13-year-old girl simply cannot possess such outstanding medical skills." He asked, "Young Miss Hua, forgive this old man for being presumptuous, but what is the honeysuckle in the prescription? And where did you get it?" Tianxin recounted. "Reporting to you, sir, this humble girl once saw this honeysuckle in an illustrated book. It is said that a divine physician once picked this miraculous herb on a mountain. It can reduce high fevers, relieve pain, reduce inflammation, and alleviate swelling, and even cure plagues, so it was named honeysuckle. This humble girl also went to the mountains hoping to find it, and saw it at the mouth of a cave." After listening, the imperial physicians were very impressed. "I didn't expect young Miss Hua to endure such hardship and persevere so tirelessly at such a young age. It truly makes this old man feel ashamed of my inferiority." After a moment of consideration, the emperor spoke. "My dear ministers, if you have no further questions, then proceed with preparing the medicine according to the prescription." The imperial physicians agreed. "Your subjects take our leave." The emperor said seriously, "Tom girl, if this can save the common people, we will certainly reward you greatly." Tianxin replied respectfully, "Your subject kowtows and thanks to your majesty." Long live, long live your majesty." Seeing this, Dan Lang smiled. Tianxin sat in the carriage on her way back. She thought with relief, "The emperor's aura is truly extraordinary. Just now, I was so scared my heart was about to leap into my throat. Luckily, I didn't make any mistakes." Dan Lang pinched her cheek. "What are you thinking about so intently, little girl?" Tianxin blushed and pulled away. "What are you touching randomly for?" She said seriously, "Your Highness, men and women should maintain their distance. Please have some self-respect, Your Highness." Dan Lang replied, Men and women are indeed different. It's just that seeing you so small, little girl, I thought you wouldn't understand such things." Tianxin laughed. "Your Highness is joking." But inwardly, she cursed, "Damn lecher, don't you fall into my hands, or I'll chop you into 8 pieces and throw you in the lake to feed the fish." Dan Lang suddenly reached his hand towards Tianxin. He asked seriously, "Little girl, can I call you Tommy?" Tianxin was awkward. "I'm not related to Your Highness in any way. Your Highness's suggestion seems inappropriate." Dan Lang placed his hand on her head and smiled. "How are we not related? The proverb is right. There is no better way to repay a life-saving grace than with one's body. Little girl, could it be that you dislike me?" The carriage sped along the road. Inside, Tianxin said nervously, "Ninth Highness, can you please not joke like that?" She reminded him helplessly, "This young miss is only 13 years old." Dan Lang replied calmly, "This prince is not joking. Although you are a bit small, little girl, this prince can wait." Tianxin refused. "Your Highness has a noble status. This humble girl dares not have such aspirations." In her heart, she silently judged. "This guy seems all serious now, but wait a few years, his personality might change, and he'll probably forget his promise." Dan Lang crossed his arms and looked at Tianxin. "Rest assured, you are absolutely worthy." She thought helplessly, "Whatever, I'll just treat it as dogs barking and cats meowing." Later, the carriage arrived at the Hua residence. "Your subject has arrived." "Thank you, Your Highness." Dan Lang lifted the curtain. "Wait a moment." He handed Tianxin a green token. "Little girl, this is for you." She looked at the token in her hand in surprise. Dan Lang's voice echoed, "In the future, if you have any difficulties, just come to the 9th Prince's mansion to find me." Hearing this, Tianxin was suspicious. Is this promise of his meant to be my backing? She stepped into the mansion. Seeing 2 unfamiliar guards, she wondered, why have the guards in the mansion been replaced? A guard replied respectfully, "The legitimate young miss may not know, but the general returned early this afternoon and spoke with concubine Shun," after which he ordered all the guards in the mansion to be replaced. Tianxin asked in surprise, "What did father and concubine Shun talk about?" The guard replied, "This servant doesn't know, only that the general's expression was grim when he left concubine Shun's courtyard, and he summoned someone from the madam's side to speak with." Tianxin asked again, "Summoned someone from my mother's side to talk about what?" This servant is also unclear about that. Shouqing saw Tianxin and said loudly, "Exiner is back." Tianxin immediately bowed with her hands clasped. "Exiner pays respect to father." He said, "Good child, stand up." Tianxin's face darkened, her tone cold. "Is there something, father?" Shouqing asked her. "Exiner, did you develop this prescription? Also, how did you conduct yourself in the palace? Did you reveal anything?" Tianxin calmly replied, "I borrowed the prescription from an ancient text. In the palace, the emperor did not make things difficult. He only said it could be used after verification. As for what father is worried about, your daughter was taught by mother, and my words and actions were all befitting a lady from a prominent family." Her face was cold. Shouqing probed, "You surely didn't disgrace father in the grand hall, did you?" "Xenia, you." Tianxin turned her back, cutting him off. "Exiner is worried about mother's illness. If father has nothing else, I will go visit mother now." "Exiner," Shouqing thought to himself, "it is father who has wronged you all." Shen Muqiu and Tianbei were chatting. Seeing Tianxin enter, Shen Muqiu immediately stood up. "Xenia." Tianxin's eyes glistened with tears as she rushed in her arms. "Mother," she said gently. "Exen, mother thought I would never see you again." Tianxin patted Tianbei and replied happily, "Mother, Exiner already promised I would bring older brother back safely." She suddenly pouted, "But why didn't mother listen to me and take good care of yourself, huh?" Muqiu avoided the topic. "Exiner has gotten thinner. This trip must have been very difficult." Tianxin smiled. "As long as older brother is safe, Exiner is not afraid of any hardship." A matron entered Shen Muqiu's courtyard and said, replying to Madam, "The food is ready. Shall we serve it now?" She nodded and replied yes. "Bring it up quickly." Immediately after, a line of servants carrying trays of food entered. The food was arranged on the table, each dish looking exquisite. The mother and her 2 children sat down at the table. Shen Muqiu said, "Look at you two. You've gotten so thin. Hurry and eat more." Tianxin picked up a piece of meat, took a bite, and praised it. "It's so delicious." Afterwards, Madame Shun led Tianxin to a nearby chair. She asked, "Mother, I heard that Shun Ruoshu is managing all the affairs in the residence now. Is that right?" She explained, "It was Madame Hua who asked her to manage things. You should call her concubine. You have no sense of propriety." She frowned and asked, "Mother, what do you think of concubine as a person? Aside from having some petty schemes, her nature isn't bad. Towards me, she is also considered respectful. She can be helpful with other matters." But she thought to herself, regarding Exiner falling into the water, "I also have some thoughts in my heart." Tianxin hurriedly knelt down and said to her, "Mother thinks concubine's nature isn't bad, but does mother know that when Exiner and older brother returned to the residence today, we were blocked at the gate by that Shen woman? If the 9th prince hadn't arrived in time, your daughter and older brother would have a home, but couldn't return, let alone see mother." Hearing this, Shen Muqiu was startled and asked, "There was such a thing?" Tianxin recounted, "Actually, the matter of your daughter falling into the water was caused by that Shen woman. Older brother has practiced martial arts since he was young and has a strong body. Does mother really think older brother would catch the plague so easily? Now, even mother has fallen for the villain's poisonous plot. In this residence, who else can get close to mother without anyone being on guard and secretly administer poison?" Upon hearing this, Muqiu was startled and stunned, dropping the cup in her hand and asking, "Exiner, is what you're saying true?" She answered her, "Mother, just think about it. Wasn't Liu Bing her spy planted by my side? She deliberately went to see the old madam. Wasn't it to send older brother away? Mother is a princess with details like these. Exiner doesn't believe mother didn't notice." After hearing this, she angrily slammed the table and gritted her teeth. "No wonder I found it strange ever since Exiner fell into the water. I never expected such a big conspiracy behind it. It's mother who is useless, letting you siblings be harmed and suffer such great humiliation." Tianxin comforted her, "Mother, right now the most important thing is to pay attention to your health." She thought to herself, "If I weren't worried about the tragedy of my past life repeating, I would never have brought this up with mother. Fortunately, mother believes my words." She patted her shoulder and said, "Exeter, rest assured. From today onwards, mother will definitely protect you both and will not let you suffer any more grievances." Tianxin asked her, "Does mother have a plan?" "Your maternal grandmother sent an invitation 2 days ago. She will come to the general's mansion tomorrow. At that time, I will explain everything clearly to your maternal grandmother." The next day, Muqiu's servant came to comb her hair and said, "Madam, your complexion is so good today." She said softly, "Today mother will be visiting. My heart is joyful, so my whole body feels very comfortable. Outside the mansion gate, someone shouted, "The eldest princess has arrived! The eldest princess has arrived!" The eldest princess, dressed in a brilliant red outfit, stepped inside. Muccio performed a salutation. Chioer pays respect to mother. The eldest princess said, "Rise quickly. What need is there for so many empty formalities? Look at you. You're thinner than last time. How can you expect mother to be at ease?" Muccio smiled. "Your daughter is grown now. How could I not take care of myself?" The eldest princess looked around and asked, "When I arrived, I still didn't see Brother Bay and Exian girl. Where have they both gone?" Muccio replied, "The two children were previously sent to the estate to recuperate and only returned yesterday. They are probably still sleeping. If mother wishes to see them, I will have a matron go and call them." The eldest princess was startled. Why were Bayer and Exian girl sent to the estate? Muccio pulled the eldest princess to a chair and said, "It's not a major issue." The eldest princess frowned. "How is it not? The plague is everywhere now, and that place is where the outbreak is worst. Why would you send Bayer and Exian girl there?" Muccio's voice was low. "Mother, your daughter loves them more than anything. How could I bear to do such a thing?" It was Shunruashu. Hearing this, the eldest princess was startled. It was her? Why would she do that? Muccio replied, "At first, she said Shoching had ruined her innocence. At that time, although your daughter was unhappy, I believed she wouldn't dare to lie. For many years, she has always acted meekly. Even the consummation of the marriage was because your daughter forced Shoching to go there. Who would have thought that a few days ago, Exiner slipped and fell into the water, nearly losing her life? Not long after, Brother Bay also contracted the plague, and all of it was caused by Shinruashu." Hearing this, the eldest princess slammed the table in anger. "I thought that since her mother was a content person, she couldn't be that bad. I never expected her to be able to stir up trouble like this." Muccio frowned, "But she is pregnant now. The old madam is also extremely protective of her. Your daughter really has no other way." Just then, the door was pushed open. Shinruashu strode in aggressively, saying, "Mother, older sister." Over there she respectfully saluted. "This humble one pays respect to the eldest princess, Madame Hua." The eldest princess snorted coldly and said, "Stand up." Shinruashu's face darkened as she thought to herself, "The woman before me now has a status so noble that even the current emperor must respectfully call her aunt upon seeing her. My mother was suppressed by her for a lifetime, unable to hold her head up. I had better be cautious." The eldest princess picked up a teacup and asked, "How many months along are you?" She replied smugly, reporting to mother, "The physician said it's been over 2 months. After hearing this, the eldest princess slammed the teacup down and scolded, "Shun family, is this how you raise a daughter? As a concubine, yet dressed better than the main wife. What a disgrace. You don't even know to look at the main wife when you speak. What, you've gained favor and forgotten your place." Upon hearing this, her mother hurriedly knelt down. "Please forgive us, eldest princess. Ruashu did not do it on purpose." The eldest princess's face darkened. "Forget kneeling. I dare not accept it. If something were to happen to the child in your womb, it would become this princess's fault. But the legitimate is legitimate, and a concubine is a concubine. Even if you're carrying pearls and gold in your womb, you will still only be of concubine birth. You can never climb over your master's head." Both mother and daughter hurriedly said, "This humble one wouldn't dare." Muccio stood behind and said, "Mother, don't be angry. Younger sister has always been a bit straightforward in her actions. She didn't mean it." Shinruashu gritted her teeth and thought, "This bitch, it sounds like she's helping me out, but isn't she secretly framing me as shrewish?" The eldest princess asked, You are still too kind-hearted. She is merely the daughter of a concubine. How is she worthy of being your younger sister?" Shinruashu's mother broke out in a sweat upon hearing this. What's wrong with the eldest princess today? Why does she keep making things difficult for Ruashu? Meanwhile, Shinruashu thought angrily, "Hateful. One day, I will ride on top of Shun Muccio's head." The eldest princess spoke up. "All right, you've paid your respects. If there's nothing else, you may all withdraw." Both mother and daughter immediately and hurriedly replied, "Yes." Then they left. The eldest princess said to Muccio, You're just too soft-hearted. They are merely concubines. You just need to show the authority of the mistress of the house. And how would they dare not listen?" Muccio replied, "Mother's teachings are correct." Returning to her room, Tianyu threw a cup to the ground and said angrily, "Concubine didn't do anything wrong. On what grounds did the eldest princess scold concubine in front of so many people? It's truly bullying." Shinruashu said, "All right, I'm fine, aren't I? Why are you getting angry?" She stood up and suddenly let out a grunt. Seeing this, Tianyu asked, "Concubine, what's wrong?" She replied, "I'm fine. My stomach just hurt a little." She thought to herself, "It's strange, come to think of it. For the past few days, my stomach has been hurting intermittently, but when I want to see a physician, the pain stops. It's truly bizarre." Tianxin stood outside on the corridor, glancing into her room with a slight smile. In Muchio's residence, Tianxin sat by the bed, taking her pulse, and said, "Mother has been taking the medicine for several days. Logically, your health should have improved significantly." She worried in her heart. Why is her pulse still not more stable, but has instead become even weaker? Muchio told her, "My body's weakness isn't something that happened overnight. I just can't bear to leave you and your older brother. But even if I die, I must wait until you're grown before I can leave." Tianxin, with tears in her eyes, "Don't speak nonsense. What is this about dying or not? Your daughter will definitely find a way to cure mother. Don't say such inauspicious things." Suddenly, Muchio flinched and clutched her stomach. Tianxin was startled. "Is your stomach starting to hurt again? Quickly, put this on to relieve the pain." She hurriedly handed Muchio a heat pack. Just then, the door was pushed open. A maidservant entered and curtsied. "Commandery Princess, Concubine Ruo and the eldest miss request an audience. They say they acquired 100-year-old ginseng a few days ago and have brought it for the Commandery Princess to recuperate." Tianxin said, "For them to have such a good thing and not keep it for themselves, but to bring it over so quickly, they must have some wolfish intentions." Muchio asked her, "Tom Ni, the general's mansion is full of eyes and ears. How can you say such things so casually?" She turned to the maidservant and said, "Tell them to come in." The maidservant replied, "Yes." Muchio stroked Tianxin's head and said, "It's enough to know they have bad intentions. Now is not the time to turn hostile. You must grasp what should and shouldn't be said. Don't let others get a handle on you, understand?" She nodded. "I understand. Tom Ni will definitely be careful from now on." Tianyu and Shun Ruashu stepped inside. Tianyu curled her lip and said, "Yu pays her respects to mother. Has mother been well lately?" Muchio said softly, "Everything is fine. You may arise." "Has the old matriarch left yet?" Tianyu replied, "She left early this morning. Concubine mother and I were worried about mother's health, so we came straight here after seeing the old madam." Muchio said, "Ruashu, you have always known your place and are favored by the master and the old madam. Now that you are pregnant, you don't need to come pay respects so often." Shin Ruashu replied, "Thank you, elder sister, for your understanding. The old madam also instructed as such, but it's just that your younger sister is bored in her room. It's better to come and chat with elder sister to pass the time." Hearing this, Tianxin muttered, "But concubine mother, my mother is unwell and needs to recuperate. She cannot be tired. Besides, someone who is newly pregnant should be resting in bed. If you were to bump into something, wouldn't the people around you suffer bad luck as well?" Hearing this, she laughed and said, "Tom Ni is joking. The little young master in concubine mother's belly is very stable. How could he possibly be bumped into?" Tianxin replied, "I was just speaking casually. Concubine mother, don't take it to heart. However, how is concubine mother so sure it's a little young master in your belly and not a young miss?" Hearing this, Shin Ruashu's face darkened. "This damn brat. Every word she says is like a knife stab. When I rise in status, the first person I'll skin is you." Tianyu smiled and said, "Younger sister Tom Ni, what you said is not right. In all these years, our mansion has only had eldest brother as a male heir. Everyone is hoping that concubine mother will have a younger brother this time to bring more glory to the family. Could it be that you want concubine mother to give birth to a younger sister?" Tianxin's face darkened as she scolded, "You can eat whatever you want, but you cannot speak carelessly. You and concubine mother are both people who understand the rules. When have you ever heard that a son from a concubine can bear the 8 words, 'Bring glory to the family gate'? Bring glory to the family? Perhaps you are intentionally cursing my older brother." Hearing this, both Shin Ruashu and Tianyu were terrified. Shin Ruashu hurriedly knelt and said, "Younger sister wouldn't dare, elder sister. Yuer is still young and doesn't know any better." Her words meant nothing. "Please, elder sister, don't take it to heart. Younger sister will kowtow and apologize to elder sister on Yuer's behalf." Muchio said sternly, Nonsense. You're pregnant right now. How can you torment yourself like this? If there is any mishap, who can bear this responsibility? Get up at once. I'll consider that Yuer is still young. I won't pursue this matter this time. But things are not as they were before. If outsiders were to hear this, they would say the general's mansion's family customs are corrupt. If it affects future prospects, you won't be able to afford it. From now on, the hierarchy of legitimate and illegitimate in this mansion is not to be treated as a joke. Do you understand? Shinrawashu, sweating, replied, yes. This concubine knows her mistake. Tianyu answered, your daughter will remember mother's teachings. Although she said that, Shinrawashu gritted her teeth and thought. These two words, this concubine, I only used them when I first entered the mansion. Since giving birth to Yuer and gaining the old madam's favor, I haven't had to address myself like that. I never expected to be forced to say it by this bitch. Tianxin glanced at her and thought, still dreaming of seizing the position at a time like this. As if I'd let you get your way. She asked her, concubine mother, I remember that concubine Kamtai in the rear courtyard doesn't address herself like that in front of grandmother. Does concubine mother remember how she refers to herself? Shinrawashu recalled the time concubine Cam was kneeling before the old madam, holding a basin in her hands. As they passed each other, Shinrawashu had smiled scornfully. We are both concubines, yet you live worse than a beggar on a bridge. She had replied, what do you understand? Only those who know their own status can live a long life. Just then, the servant beside Muccio spoke up. I've heard that pregnant women are often forgetful. It seems what you said about yourself is not wrong. But if concubine mother has forgotten, then let Tahin remind you. Concubine Cam Tai often refers to herself as humble concubine in front of the old madam. After hearing this, Shinrawashu gritted her teeth and stammered. This humble concubine must obey the madam's teachings. Then she suddenly swayed. Seeing this, Tahin hurriedly ran to support her and asked, concubine mother, could it be that you are about to faint? Fainting while listening to the main mistress's teachings. Could it be that you are expressing dissatisfaction with the main mistress? She broke into a sweaty smile and said, Miss Tahin is joking. This humble concubine cannot bear such a crime. Muccio spoke up, Tahin, don't be so impertinent. Concubine Ruaw has been in the mansion for a long time. How would she dare to be rebellious? Bring a chair here. Don't let concubine Ruaw get tired. Tianyu, standing to one side, frowned and thought. Concubine mother has been standing for the time it takes an incense stick to burn, and only now is she given a chair. This is clearly making things difficult for concubine mother on purpose. Tianxin, standing beside her, said, I see that elder sister seems unwilling in her heart. Could it be that you are displeased with mother's teachings? She hurriedly forced a smile. Mother rarely teaches us. I naturally must remember every word. I was just worried that mother would wrongly blame concubine mother. After all, concubine mother came because she was worried about mother's illness. So she brought ginseng for mother to recuperate. Then she clapped her hands, and a servant immediately entered carrying a bowl of ginseng. Tianxin's face darkened as she thought. Mother's body is currently weak and cannot take strong supplements. No wonder her vital energy has been getting weaker and weaker now that they've brought ginseng. Tianxin ran to Muccio and said, Mother, you should quickly accept concubine mother's good intentions. Your daughter remembers that mother has a gold inlaid silver, white, jade, lotus hairpin here that looks very beautiful. I wonder if you could bestow it upon concubine Ruaw. Hearing this, she was stunned and glanced at the hairpin that was brought over. Tahin smiled and asked, This is a reward from the main mistress. Does concubine Ruaw like it? After hearing this, her face darkened as she thought. The master said this kind of hairpin is only worn by maidservants and concubines. Now, this bitch is actually giving this to me. Isn't she mocking my lowly birth? Tianxin smiled and asked, Could it be that concubine mother is so overjoyed that she has forgotten what to do? Why not quickly thank the madam? She clenched the hairpin in her hand and curtsied. This humble concubine thanks the madam for her great kindness. Muccio nodded. It's good that you like it. I'm tired too. If you have no other business, you may go back and rest. She spoke up. This humble concubine has one more request to ask for the madam's gracious approval. Tianyu stepped forward to speak for her mother. It's like this. Because concubine mother is of advanced age, she may not have a smooth delivery. Therefore, she wishes for her daughter to accompany her to the ancestral temple to light incense and pray for blessings. We hope mother will grant her approval. Seeing Muccio nod, both of them curtsied. Thank you, madam. Thank you, mother. After that mother and daughter pair left, Muccio said, I hope that Hairpin can make her see her status clearly again, and not do useless things. Tianxin stood to one side with her arms crossed and snorted coldly. That kind of person has to be disciplined many times to understand what the principle of a concubine is a slave means. At this moment, Tahin entered with a bowl of medicine. Reporting to Madam, it's time to take your medicine. Tianxin picked up the bowl of medicine, smelled it, and asked, This smell is a mixture. There's Walingzi, Pu Huang, Dengui, Qi Xiao, Chuanxiong, Yuan Ming, Taoren, Ruxiang. Could this be Qi Xiao San? Hearing this, Tahin covered her mouth and asked, Young miss, how did you know? She angrily threw the bowl of medicine in her hand down and cursed. Hateful. This venomous woman really dared to think of it. Using the fact that ginseng and Qi Xiao San are incompatible with each other to push Mother to her death. Tahin stood to one side with tears in her eyes and said, This servant knew they had no good intentions towards the madam. No wonder the madam has been taking medicine for so many years without any improvement. Young miss, please think of a way. She replied angrily, From now on, whenever the medicine is brewed, you must have our own servant supervise. Besides taking her medicine, Mother must avoid all these supposedly beneficial but incompatible medicines. However, for now, there is no need to make a big fuss about this matter. Tahin, frightened by her, broke into a sweat and replied, This servant will remember. A few days later, Tianxin picked up a bead, examined it for a moment, and then said, Mother, what do you think of the color of this bead? She was embroidering, looked at it, and replied, Not bad, not bad. It's perfect for making the willow branch for the purification vase. Tommy really knows how to choose. Tianxin was enthusiastic. It's because Mother taught me well. But you can't overwork yourself either. She hugged Tianxin. It's all right. After a few days of medicinal meals, I feel much better. The old matriarch's birthday is coming up. I must finish this quickly. Hearing this, Tianxin immediately ran over to massage her shoulders. Then let your daughter massage your shoulders to relax your muscles and bones. Just then, the door opened. As soon as Tianxin saw that maidservant, she was startled. She quickly went to one side to hear the maidservant's report. This servant has followed the young Mrs. instructions to investigate the list of servants from the steward's side. Indeed, concubine Ruo did change a few of the young master's attendants. That's how the disease was transmitted to the young master. It's just that after the young miss and the young master left, that person was also driven out of the mansion. Tianxin said in a low voice, with Shun Ruoshu's methods, I'm afraid that person is more likely dead than alive. Hearing the maidservant's worry, in that case, there's no more evidence to prove that concubine Ruo plotted to harm the young master. She replied, There will be a way. Don't let this matter get out. Tell me, what is Shun Ruoshu doing at the ancestral temple? The maidservant said, The young miss is truly as prescient as a god. The other day, besides burning incense to pray for blessings, she also secretly met a man. According to what was said, this man's appearance was identical to the one who drowned yesterday. Hearing this, Tianxin frowned. Oh, Shenruoshu had just met this person and then he died? Could his death be related somehow? The maidservant continued. In addition, I noticed that when she returned to the mansion, concubine Ruo also brought some things with her. It didn't look like things one would get from praying. Tianxin frowned. It would be good if we could clarify what she brought back to the mansion. It might even be related to that man she secretly met. She thought to herself, it's just a pity that Shun Ruoshu is pregnant now, with many servants attending to her in the mansion. It's really impossible to go in and investigate. Suddenly, the maidservant said, That's right, this servant discovered this thing this morning. She handed Tianxin a blood-stained handkerchief. Tianxin was shocked. This is concubine Ruo's handkerchief. Tianyu hasn't reached that age yet, so this bloodstain can only be from concubine Ruo. But she's pregnant. Bleeding at this time is likely a symptom of a miscarriage. She thought to herself, I previously put a drug in her pregnancy stabilizing medicine, but that amount would only cause stomach discomfort, not to the point of miscarriage. The maidservant asked her, Young miss, with the concubine having so many secrets, should we tell the madam? She shook her head. Not yet. Wait until I've investigated clearly before saying anything. Just then, Luke Ben hurriedly ran over and called out to her, Young Mississippi. As soon as she saw her, she was startled. This inn is so familiar, she spoke up and asked, Where did you go? Luke Ben replied, I was following the madam's instructions, bringing some things to concubine Ruo. Concubine Ruo was worried about the madam's illness, so she asked me some questions for a while. Did the young miss look for me? for something urgent? Hearing that, she frowned in thought. So the scent came from Shun Ruoshu's room. She waved her hand. It's nothing. You may leave. Luke Bin turned around and thought to herself, the young miss has been strange these past 2 days. Could it be that she has discovered something? The maidservant behind Tianxin covered her nose and asked, Young miss, why do I smell such a strong medicinal scent from Luke Bin? She immediately said, I'm afraid she picked it up while in Shun Ruoshu's courtyard. Mugwort, daughter seed, loranthus, and mountain cypress fruit added to a pregnancy-stabilizing medicine. If that's the case, then concubine Ruo's miscarriage is real. Hearing this, the maidservant was startled, but recently, no physician has been invited to the mansion. Where did concubine Ruo get the pregnancy-stabilizing medicine? Could it be that the man at the ancestral temple gave it to concubine Ruo? She smiled and asked. Instead of seeing a physician for an illness, she seeks out a stranger. What kind of relationship do they have for Shun Ruoshu to trust him so much? I'm getting more and more curious about their secret. Hearing this, that maidservant's eyes lit up. This servant will continue to investigate. Luke Wai pulled Tianxin to the vanity table and praised. The young Mrs. Eyebrows are very similar to the madam's. In a few more years, you will surely be as devastatingly beautiful as the madam. Tianxin said softly, no matter how beautiful a woman is, in the end, she is still judged by her looks and has to rely on a man to live. I don't want to be like concubine Ruo, using her beauty to seduce a drunkard and end up as his concubine. At this moment, Muchio walked over, smiled, and said, Tom Ni is absolutely right. A woman should possess both virtue and talent. Even in desperate situations, she must be self-reliant and cannot lose her own escape route. Hearing that, she nodded, Mother is absolutely right. Muchio bent down. All right, sit still. Today is your grandmother's grand birthday celebration. You must appear very beautiful. Perhaps at the banquet, there will be quite a few madams asking about you. Hearing this, she asked curiously, Ask about me? Why would they ask about me? Tahin, standing beside her, explained, In 2 more years, the eldest miss will reach the age of hairpinning. Appearing before everyone this time, there will naturally be many people vying to inquire about marriage proposals. Tianxin recalled what Dan Lang had asked her the other day. The proverb is right, a life-saving grace has no greater repayment. Naturally, it is to pledge oneself in return. I wonder if you, little lass, would disdain me? Her face flushed red as she said, Mother, quickly discipline Tahin. Isn't she speaking nonsense? You can't just say whatever you want. Muchio smiled. All right, we won't talk about it for now. We'll talk about it in 2 years. Afterwards, she led Tianxin into the banquet. Just then, someone called out, Moor. She turned her head and saw a woman and a man approaching. She asked in surprise, Tin Lam? Tin Lam said, Long time no see. Let me have a look. Is the former #1 beauty of the capital still as celestial as she was back then? Muchio said softly, You're already a mother of several children. How is your temperament still the same? Doesn't Lord Minister he manage you? The minister standing beside her smiled. I've made a fool of myself in front of Princess Mu. Tin Lam has always been like this. If she were gentle and virtuous, I wouldn't be used to it. Hearing this, Tin Lam glanced at him and asked, You dare say you wouldn't be used to it? Seeing this look, he immediately begged in fear. I wouldn't dare. My wife is virtuous and gentle. Your husband couldn't ask for more. Hearing this, Tin Lam smiled and pulled Muchio's hand. It's good that you know. Moor, let's go. Seeing her, Tianxin thought to herself, if father could not be afraid of rumors and treat mother like this, that would be great. Suddenly, someone pulled her hair, causing her to turn her head in annoyance. That young lady smiled and asked, You must be younger sister Tomni? I heard you fell into the water some time ago, but at that time, my mother and I were traveling in Jiangnan and didn't have time to visit you. Are you all right now? She replied, I am very well. Thank you for your concern, elder sister. Just then, Tianyu ran over breathlessly, waving and calling out, Younger sister Nadong, you're the 3rd young miss of the Lord Minister's household. Younger sister Nadong, right? I am Hu Tianyu. Come over here quickly. Nadong not that hello, ouda sita vu. But then she turned back and pulled Tianxin's hand. Let's go inside quickly. She completely ignored Tianyu behind her, causing her to grit her teeth and think, hateful little bitch. Ruoshu walked up to Tianyu, frowned, and asked, Today is a good opportunity. Why aren't you going to get acquainted with the young ladies from noble families? What are you doing standing here? Tianyu gritted her teeth. Those legitimate young misses, every one of them looks down on people and pays no attention to me. What can I do? Do I have to go and grovel before them? Ruashu asked in return. A legitimate young miss naturally socializes with other legitimate young misses. But don't you know how to get acquainted with other young ladies? Hearing this, Tianyu got angry. You want me to get acquainted with other concubine-born daughters? What are they? A bunch of meek girls who don't even dare to speak loudly. Ruashu reminded her. Concubine-born young misses are still young misses. There might be one or two outstanding ones among them. In the future, when you go to the academy, you can't be all alone without friends. Or are you going to let that girl Tianxin walk all over you again? Hearing this, Tianyu calmed down. Now that you mention it, I was indeed careless. Concubine mother, rest assured, I know what to do now. Inside the banquet, Yanhai was eating very happily when suddenly she looked to one side in surprise and said to Tianxin, Tom Ni, that concubine-born older sister of yours is quite a clever one. She can even get my quiet and timid younger sister back to talk with her. That's not easy to do, is it? As soon as she heard this, Na Dong, who was beside them, frowned. Yanhai, why would you say that? Yanhai hurriedly explained, Younger sister Tom Ni, I didn't mean anything by it. I just couldn't help speaking my mind. Please don't blame me. Tianxin gave a frank smile. It's good to be that way. It's exhausting when people beat around the bush with each other. Yanhai patted her chest. These words of Tom Ni's really suit my taste. This elder sister has made the right friend today. The three young misses raised their wine cups, and Yanhai said, For the friendship of us three sisters, let's drain this cup. Just then, someone announced, The ninth prince has arrived. Dan Lang walked inside, attracting everyone's gaze. Look quickly, it's the ninth prince. His Highness actually came. His Highness is extraordinarily handsome, truly worthy of being the prince most favored by the emperor. Dan Lang walked up, bowed, and said to old Madame Shun, wishing old Madame blessings as vast as the eastern sea and longevity as high as the southern mountains. Seeing him, Tianxin muttered, a silk-pan scion. Yanhai smiled. How can that be? I think the ninth prince is very good. Not only is he knowledgeable, but he is also very gentle and courteous. Hearing that, Tianxin immediately asked, Elder Sister Hai, why do you have such a high opinion of him? Could it be that you've taken a fancy to him? Yanhai covered her mouth. How could that be? This elder sister already has a marriage arrangement. You can't say such nonsense. Not Dong beside her teased her, but Tom Ni, you look so tense. Could it be that you also like the ninth prince? She jumped. What are you saying, elder sister Dong? Who would like that kind of unlearned and unskilled silk pants scion? Yanhai whispered. Oh, so it turns out what Tom Ni likes is not a silk pants scion, but a knowledgeable, gentle, and courteous young master. After hearing this, Tianxin felt as if a knife had stabbed her heart and thought, aren't those the words you just used to describe the ninth prince? After all that back and forth, why am I still stuck with this guy? Yanhai smiled. All right, I'll stop talking, okay? Tianxin said hurriedly, Quick, drain this cup of wine, startling the other two. What? The old madam smiled and spoke. Your Highness's presence is this old one's honor. Please have a seat. Dan Lang smiled brightly. Old madam, no need to be so courteous. I don't like listening to opera. Being too close to the stage gives me a headache. I see it's quite quiet over there. Then he glanced towards Tianxin. She frowned and thought to herself, this guy is definitely doing it on purpose. Dan Lang approached Tianxin and called out, Tom Ni, long time no see. Tianxin looked up and asked, Has your Highness gone to the wrong place? This is the women's section. You should be over there. She pointed to where the men were seated. Beside her, Tian Bei immediately waved upon seeing him. But Dan Lang mused, Unfortunately, Tianbei's table is full, so I have no choice but to come over here with the little lass. You're not even of age yet. What are you afraid of? She said, It must have been difficult for the ninth prince to even think of the excuse that I haven't reached the age of hairpinning. I am impressed, truly impressed. Dan Lang gave a teasing smile. No need to be so courteous. She scolded angrily. Who wants to be courteous with you? After that, Dan Lang sat down at the banquet table with Tianxin. He poured himself a cup of wine, smelled its aroma, and thought, This wine has a very strange scent. He took a sip and praised. The wine's aroma is rich and strong. The taste is pure and clean, not cloying. It is indeed top-grade peach blossom brew. Then he was startled. Wait, why is there something burning my throat like this? Peach blossom brew has an aftertaste, but it's very pure and gentle. Logically, it shouldn't be this strong unless someone added something to it. He turned to see Tianxin, still drinking the wine, and thought to himself, no wonder the little girl's face is a bit flushed. I'm afraid she's been set up by someone and doesn't even know it. So he immediately took the wine cup from her hand and said, "You're still young. Drink less wine." She pouted. "Whether I drink or not is my business. You're just a guest. Why are you so nosy?" He smiled, patting her head, and said, "Of course I have to worry. It's almost your turn to present your gift. Don't embarrass yourself in front of old Madame Hua." After hearing this, Tianxin thought, what's wrong with me today? I've only had 2 cups, and I'm already this flustered. I almost forgot about presenting my gift to grandmother. Suddenly, Dan Lang called out to her, "Little girl." She slapped his hand away, turned around, and said, "Don't touch me. Stay away from me." Seeing this, Dan Lang put on a pained expression. "Little girl, what you said really hurts my feelings." Hearing this, Tianxin fell silent. At this moment, a Tuong ran over and called him, "Your Highness." He replied, "It's nothing. I have something for you to do. Go to the back kitchen and find out who is in charge of this table. See if anyone put something in the wine." A Tuong immediately replied, "Yes," and left. At this time, in front of old Madame Hua, Tian Bei unrolled a painting and said, "This is your grandson's birthday gift. I wish grandmother a long and healthy life." Old Madame Hua praised, "Very good. Bayer has improved more and more. This painting is full of meaning. I like it very much." Then she presented an ink stick and said, "I bestow this high-quality ink stick upon you as encouragement." Tian Bei bowed. "Thank you, grandmother, for the reward." Suddenly, Tian Yu ran over, tugged her arm, and said, "Grandmother, your granddaughter also prepared a gift for you. Look." She took out a magnificently embroidered robe with a figure of Guanyin in the center. Then asked excitedly, "Grandmother, it took you 3 months to complete this robe. Do you like it, grandmother?" Tianxin curled her lip into a smile and thought, this ignorant fool. Old Madame Hua nodded and said, "You is thoughtful. You may go out," which made Tian Yu startle and wonder. What? She wouldn't let it go and asked, "Grandmother, can it be that you don't like my gift?" Old Madame Hua glanced at a nearby servant. The servant immediately came forward and said to Tian Yu, "Eldest miss, the madam asks you to go outside first." After that, 2 palace maids came forward and unrolled a scroll. Inside was a depiction of a Guanyin statue. Tianxin bowed and said, "Your granddaughter wishes grandmother joy as radiant as the sun and moon, and longevity like the pine and crane." The untalented exiner, together with mother, made a Guanyin with lotus painting, hoping grandmother will like it. Old Madame Hua asked in surprise, "Is this painting embroidered?" She nodded shyly and replied, "Your granddaughter was afraid that a painting would lose its color over time, so I discussed with mother and decided to embroider one." Hearing this, she smiled with satisfaction. "Exiner is still the most thoughtful. I just didn't expect your embroidery skills to have reached this level. I like this embroidered painting very much." Then she turned and ordered, "Shui Lan, Shui Jun, you 2 quickly take this Guanyin Bodhisattva to the Buddhist hall for veneration. There must be no mistakes." She then gave Tianxin a pair of earrings, saying, "This pair of jade pendants was the first piece of jewelry your grandfather gave me. Now I'm giving them to you. Remember to take good care of them." Tianxin said in a solemn voice, "Grandmother, this pair of jade pendants is too meaningful for Exiner." She turned to look at her mother beside her. Her mother smiled and said, "You must not refuse a gift from an elder. Exiner, hurry and thank your grandmother." Hearing that, Tianxin obediently accepted the earrings. Then she bowed. Exiner thanks grandmother for her deep affection. Old Madame Hua smiled. "Good child, return to your seat. I see you get along well with the young ladies from the Grand Ministers and the Duke's mansions. Remember to entertain them carefully. Do not be impolite." She nodded. Exiner remembers. Tian Yu stood to one side, grinding her teeth and thinking, damn it, both were Guanyin Buddhas. Why did grandmother like that damn girls? What kind of trick did she use to make the old matriarch take out the token of love from grandfather to reward her? Tianxin returned to her seat. Seeing her joyful expression, Dan Lang thought, she's this happy over just a pair of jade pendants. This little girl is really easy to please. Now that Princess Mu's health is gradually improving and the little girl is favored by old Madame Hua, her days should be much better. If only I could bring the little girl back to my residence soon. I could protect her more. It's a pity she's still too young. Noticing his intense gaze on her, she asked shyly, "Are you sick or something? Why do you keep staring at me?" He replied, "Because you're beautiful, little girl." Hearing that, she immediately scolded, "You psycho." Tianxin shot up to her feet. Seeing this, Dan Lang asked in surprise, "Where are you going?" She turned to leave and answered, "A guest should act like a guest. Don't meddle in things that don't concern you." Seeing this, Dan Lang chuckled. "Little girl, you have quite a temper." Tianxin went outside and sat by the lotus pond, thinking, that guy really made me angry. I can't drag this on any longer. I have to find a chance to talk to Mother and annul the engagement. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps startled her. It turned out to be Ruoshu. She asked, "The old madam told you, Exiner, to entertain the guests. Why did you run out here? Aren't you afraid?" "I'll tell the old madam." Tianxin said coldly, "I advise concubine Ruo to watch her words. Is Exiner a name you are worthy of using? Or does my maternal grandmother's word carry no weight?" She laughed coldly, approached her, and asked, if it weren't for that sickly woman being afraid that my pregnancy would affect her status, why would she have invited the Grand Princess? Tianxin stood up angrily. "I see your nerve is getting bigger and bigger. As a lowly concubine, you dare to speak ill of the main wife? What? Relying on the child in your belly. You think you can disregard the mistress of the house?" After hearing this, she laughed and asked, "So what if I disregard Shimuchio?" Then her face turned cold, her eyes filled with killing intent. "You think that sickly thing can recover? The way she looks now is just a final flicker of life. She will die very soon. When she dies, I will be the ruling mistress of the general's mansion. You and that damn brother of yours will be buried with her." Hearing this, Tianxin angrily slapped her hard. "You insubordinate thing." She held her face and gritted her teeth. "You little bitch, you dare to hit me?" Tianxin retorted, "So what if I hit you? You are just a lowly concubine, yet you dare to curse my mother. I must go and ask grandmother and father about this. See how they will deal with a treacherous person like you." As soon as she heard that, Ruoshu immediately lunged forward, grabbed her by the throat, pulled her down, and asked through gritted teeth, "You damn bitch, I'll strangle you to death now and see how you'll go tattle." Tianxin gritted her teeth and thought to herself, "Damn it, this person really wants to kill me." She fumbled around, touched a rock, and thought, "I can't die. Mother and brother are waiting for me. I absolutely cannot die a meaningless death like this." She immediately used that rock to hit Ruoshu on the head, causing her to fall. At the same time, blood flowed from between her legs. When she felt the pool of blood, she thought, "Little bitch, you're dead for sure this time." Tianxin stood up and asked, "That pregnancy, I'm afraid it was already lost long ago. Right?" She grabbed tightly onto her dress and replied, "So what? Now the entire general's mansion will think it was your doing that you harmed my child. So all the blame will be on you." Hearing that, she scolded, "You're looking for death." Just then, someone shouted, "Stop." Tianxin turned her head and saw old Madame Hua arriving with Hua Shouqing and her mother. Seeing this, Tianxin fell silent. Tianyu, behind them, cried out in alarm, "Concubine is injured." The moment Ruoshu saw old Madame Hua, she immediately started acting, wailing in pain, "Old Madam, Second Miss wants to kill this humble concubine. Please save the child in my womb." Then she collapsed. After that, a physician came to check her pulse. The old madam stood to one side, silent. Mucho came closer and stroked Tianxin's head. When she saw the marks on her neck, she was startled. Old Madame Hua asked the physician, "Physician, is she all right?" The physician bowed. "The pregnant woman's life is not in danger. It's just that the fetus, I'm afraid, cannot be saved." Upon hearing this, old Madame Hua was shaken. "My grandchild cannot be saved, cannot be saved." Hua Shouqing hurried over to support her. "Mother, today is your birthday. You should try to look on the bright side. Don't harm your health. You all, take concubine Ruo to rest." The physician bowed. "Then I will go prepare a prescription for concubine Ruo." Back inside the mansion, old Madame Hua sat angrily in her chair. She banged her cane and ordered, "Kneel." Tianxin immediately knelt down. Dan Lang, watching from the side, remained silent. Mucho hurriedly ran over and called out, "Mother, Xinia." Hua Shouqing also called out, "Madam." Old Madame Hua asked her, "Did you know that in concubine Ruo's belly was your younger brother or sister?" Tianxin answered, "I knew." Old Madame Hua was furious. "If you knew, then why did you still do it?" Tianyu stood beside them, gritting her teeth. Grandmother, she must have been jealous of the concubine, afraid that if the concubine gave birth to a younger brother, it would. Old Madame Hua angrily slammed the table and scolded, "This is not your place to interrupt." Startled, Tianyu called out, "Grandmother." Old Madame Hua asked, "Exiner, I want you to tell me, why did you push concubine Rua down?" Tianxin answered, "Grandmother, Exiner didn't do it on purpose." Tianyu angrily ran up to question Tianxin. "You didn't do it on purpose, yet you could cause the concubine to miscarry? If you had done it on purpose, wouldn't you have taken the concubine's life? We have been sisters for so many years, yet I never knew that at such a young age you could have such a vicious heart." Tianxin remained silent. Dan Lang, who had been observing the situation from the side, then spoke up. Old Madam Ho was questioning the second Mississippi. Since when was it the eldest Miss's turn to interrupt and pressure someone? Hearing this, Tianyu was startled. "Your Highness," Dan Lang called out, "a Tuong." A Tuong immediately appeared and answered, "Yes, Your Highness." He took out a bottle of wine and a cup. Seeing this, old Madame Hua asked, "Your Highness, what is the meaning of this?" Dan Lang poured the wine into the cup and said, "Old Madame Hua, I heard that this peach blossom brew is the general's treasured wine, and only old Madame Hua knows how to make it. Perhaps Madame is extremely familiar with its taste." Then, old Madame Hua nodded. "That is a matter of course. This recipe was passed down from my ancestors. I can tell just by a whiff of its aroma. However, what is it that your Highness wishes to say?" He replied, "Old Madame Hua, don't be hasty. I still invite old Madame to try and see what it tastes like." A Tuong brought the cup of wine to her. She asked, "Your Highness, all of today's peach blossom brew was made by me personally. What is it that your Highness is suspicious of?" Tianxin pulled on Dan Lang's sleeve and said, "This has nothing to do with you. You should go. Don't meddle in other people's business." Hearing this, Dan Lang frowned slightly, then smiled and asked, "Silly girl, how could I bear to leave you behind now?" Hearing this, Tianxin immediately blushed. Dan Lang reached out and pulled her in his arms. "Second Miss, my apologies." As Tianxin fell into his arms, her face flushed red. Suddenly, he gently pulled down her collar, causing her to startle and curse, "You scoundrel." The guests were extremely shocked when they saw the mark on Tianxin's neck. "What is this? Why is there a bruise on the second Miss's neck? It looked normal just a moment ago. Could it be that just now she was by concubine Ruashu?" Dan Lang turned to ask Tianyu, eldest Mississippi, "If I'm not mistaken, the bruise on the second Miss's neck was caused by that concubine of yours, wasn't it?" She broke out in a sweat. "Your Highness, you have no proof. You can't make such baseless accusations." At this moment, a servant girl stepped forward and said, "Your Highness, old madam, when I went to the rear courtyard, I was the first to arrive. I saw with my own eyes that the second Miss hit the concubine first. The concubine only struck back to protect the child in her womb. But who would have thought the second Miss would angrily push the concubine down?" Hearing this, Muccio immediately scolded, "Insolence! The old madam is speaking with the ninth prince. Is it your turn to interrupt? You don't know your place. Casually interrupting your masters. Steward, you say, what is the punishment?" The steward stepped forward and replied, reporting to Madam, "A servant who is insolent to their superiors should be slapped across the mouth 20 times. Upon hearing this, the servant girl was stunned. Tianyu frowned and spoke up, "Mother, your daughter knows you are worried about Tianxin. But right now, the matter is not yet clear. To favor Tianxin so blatantly will not convince the public." Muccio asked coldly, "Are you saying I'm favoring her?" Bitch Dao had just spoken up, and Mother rushed to punish her. "Isn't it because you want to silence her so that outsiders can continue to blame the concubine?" Dan Lang smiled and asked, "Is the eldest Miss deliberately trying to confuse right and wrong? The madam is punishing that maid because she doesn't know her place in the rules. What does that have to do with the second Miss? Besides, who can tell how much of what that maid said is true and how much is false? However, that cup of wine is what's important." A Tuong said to old Madame Hua, "I invite old madam to inspect it." She picked up the wine cup, smelled its aroma, and asked, "This scent is not that of authentic peach blossom brew. Could something have been added?" After taking a sip, she was startled. "It's Shadaozi." Muccio said to Dan Lang, "Your Highness, Shadaozi is a strong liquor. Mother would not mix it with peach blossom brew to serve esteemed guests." Dan Lang said softly, "Commandery Princess Mu, there's no need to be so hasty. I naturally believe the old madam would not do such a thing, but that doesn't mean someone else wouldn't." Hearing this, Muccio was startled, but the wine was all arranged by the steward. could it be? The old steward hurriedly knelt on the ground and explained, it wasn't this old servant. This old servant has been wrong. This old servant was indeed in charge of the banquet arrangements. But the wine for the second Mrs. Table was brought over by someone sent by concubine Roashu. It has nothing to do with this old servant. Hearing this, Tianyu became angry. What nonsense are you spouting? The concubine has a noble status. Why would she meddle in the work of you servants? Dan Lang smiled and asked, why is the eldest miss in such a hurry as well? If we call the kitchen maids over to ask, won't it be clear immediately? Afterwards, 2 kitchen maids were brought over. Old Madame Hoa spoke, I ask you, who brought the wine to young Xian's table today? If you dare to speak a single false word, you will be punished by the family law. The 2 of them hurriedly recounted, we servants are not clear. We only know that the wine for the second Mrs. Table was taken by concubine Roashu. May the old madam quell her anger. It was concubine Roashu who came to the back kitchen and said she would take it to the banquet hall on her way. Hearing this, Tianyu's face darkened and she cursed, you wretched slaves, how dare you make baseless accusations? When did my concubine mother go to the back kitchen? You must have secretly tampered with things to frame the concubine. The 2 maids asked in fear, eldest miss, we servants have no grudge against the second miss or concubine Roashu. Why would we use strong liquor to harm the second miss? And why would we frame the concubine? She angrily raised her hand and cursed, despicable. How dare you speak nonsense? As she was about to strike the 2 maids, Dan Lang grabbed her wrist tightly. What is the eldest miss doing? When threats fail, you resort to violence. She said in fear, Your Highness, my concubine mother lost her unborn child because of Hua Tianxin. Her life is in danger now. This person is as vicious as a snake. Why must you help her like this? After hearing this, Dan Lang frowned and pushed her away. The matter has not been investigated clearly, yet you dare to incessantly call others vicious. Is that the attitude of a daughter of a concubine towards the daughter of the first wife? Hearing this, she knelt down in fear. Dan Lang said, also, this prince has eyes and ears. I can understand right and wrong for myself. I don't need your reminders. She knelt on the ground, thinking to herself, Hua Tianxin, you bitch, on what grounds does the 9th prince have your back? Just then, a maid ran in breathlessly and reported, Old madam, concubine Roashu is awake. Hearing this, she immediately said, Quick, let's go see how she is. The group hurried to Roashu's room. As soon as she saw old Madame Hua, she called out, Mother. Hua. Shouqing hurriedly asked the physician, Physician, is the concubine all right now? The physician replied, General, I have just examined her carefully and found that concubine Roashu miscarried due to taking too much abortifacient medicine, which caused unstoppable bleeding, not because of the second Mississippi. It has now harmed her body, and it will be difficult for her to bear children in the future. Upon hearing this, Roashu, old Madame Hua, and Hua Shouqing were all startled. What? Old Madame Hua questioned the physician. Physician Liang, are you sure there are no mistakes? Concubine Roashu finally conceived a child after so long. How could she use abortifacient medicine? Physician Liang thought to himself, I have been practicing medicine for 20 years and am well versed in gynecological diseases. According to her pulse, the fetus in her womb was already dead. It should have been expelled a few days ago, yet it was retained until today. If not for the medicine taken today that forced it out with its potency, I'm afraid the concubine's life would have been hard to save if it had been kept longer. At this moment, Tianxin gave a signal to her maid. The maid hurried away. Roashu quickly sat up from the bed and said, Old madam, you must believe this humble concubine. I have been in the mansion for over 17 years. Besides I finally have another child after so long. How could I use abortifacient medicine on myself? After hearing this, old Madame Hua paused. She turned and said, Physician Liang, explain this matter. The fetus was expelled by abortifacient medicine. I only speak the truth. As for why the concubine would do such a thing, you will have to ask the concubine herself. Tianyu quickly spoke up for Roashu. Grandmother, concubine mother has always been timid. She normally avoids even stepping on ants. She definitely could not have harmed her own unborn child. I hope grandmother will investigate clearly. Muccio smiled and asked, the physician has practiced for many years. Would he baselessly accuse concubine Roashu? The old madam should indeed investigate clearly. Seeing the situation was not good, Ruashu quickly asked the madam, "Ever since the young miss fell into the water, the madam has constantly been finding trouble with me and the eldest Mississippi. Are you now helping outsiders ruin this humble concubine's reputation?" Muccio coldly asked her back, "Do you dare say that Exiner's drowning had nothing to do with you?" Hearing this, she paused and replied, "I," thinking to herself, "This person has always been weak and submissive, never daring to compete. Why is she being so aggressive now? It's as if she's become a different person." Tianyu quickly ran over to protect Ruashu. So it turns out mother is blaming the concubine for sister Tianxin's drowning. No wonder she's been finding trouble with her lately. Ruashu sat up, laughed, and said, "So it turns out the madam has long wanted to get rid of this humble concubine. It's a pity that I was part of your dowry. If you were to dispose of me, you would be cursed by others. But you didn't, afraid of ruining your reputation, yet you didn't want to keep me around. So you had the young miss push me down, then ordered the physician to slander my reputation, to achieve your goal of eliminating me. Madam, you are so cruel." She pinned all the blame on Muccio. Muccio laughed coldly. "If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have almost forgotten. You are merely a dowry concubine. As just a concubine, you dare to plot against the legitimate son and daughter of the main wife. Even dying 10,000 times would not be enough for you." After hearing this, both Tianyu and Ruashu were startled. Ruashu gripped the bedsheet tightly and said, "This humble concubine doesn't understand what the madam is saying." Tianxin stepped forward coldly and asked, "Oh, is the concubine still pretending not to understand?" "Louis, Comain." Lu immediately stepped inside, carrying a tray with a bloodstained handkerchief and a needle. Seeing this, everyone asked, "What is that?" Ruashu was startled when she saw those items. "That needle. I searched the entire mansion for it before and couldn't find it. So it was taken by that little bitch. And that handkerchief." Tianyu turned to call her concubine mother. The crowd murmured, "Isn't that concubine Ruashu's needle? And look at that handkerchief. It's embroidered with the white flowers that concubine Ruashu likes the most. It's definitely concubine Ruashu's handkerchief. But its thickness is just right for when a woman has her menses. Concubine Ruashu is pregnant. How could she be having her menses? Could it be the eldest missus? Right, the eldest miss isn't married yet. How could it be the eldest missus?" Tianxin picked up the needle, smiled, and asked concubine Ruashu, "Do you have nothing to explain?" Hearing this, Ruashu and Tianyu gritted their teeth and looked at each other. Tianyu spoke up, "Hua Tianxin, what do you mean by bringing these two things here?" Old Madam Hua asked her, "Young Exant, this is..." Hua Shouqing and Muccio stood to one side, watching quietly. Then Muccio stepped forward and said, "Mother, you must recognize this needle. It was the one you gifted to concubine Ruashu." Old Madam Hua was surprised this needle. "I did indeed give it to her." Muccio continued, "Then, Mother, did you know that this needle was found where Exiner fell into the water?" Hearing this, Old Madam Hua asked in shock, "What did you say?" Tianxin recounted, "Grandmother, that day, Lu Ping deliberately led me to the water's edge. When I fell into the water, concubine Ruashu's reflection appeared on the water's surface. When the servants pulled me ashore, there was a needle where I had fallen. I still believe that the concubine was not that kind of person, so I didn't dare tell you, grandmother. But this person has a venomous heart. After failing to kill me, she shifted her target to my older brother." Ruashu hurriedly tried to clear her name. "No, it wasn't me. I didn't do it." Muccio said angrily, "You are still so stubborn. Su Exine, bring the servant here." Su Exine immediately replied, "Yes, madam." Then Su Exan led a masked servant forward and said, "Madam, I have brought the person." The man was still coughing. Ruashu was terrified upon seeing him. "I clearly had someone deal with this man. How is he still alive?" The servant knelt before old Madam Hua. "Greetings, old Madam Hua." This servant was previously summoned by concubine Ruashu to serve in the young master's courtyard. After speaking, he coughed continuously. Old Madam Hua quickly covered her mouth and asked, "Muccio, what is the meaning of this?" Muccio replied, "Mother, that is a question you should ask concubine Ruashu." Old Madam Hua and Hua Shouqing immediately turned their gazes towards Ruashu. She was still gritting her teeth, refusing to admit fault. This humble concubine does not know what Madam is talking about. Muccio asked coldly, "You don't understand my words again, concubine Ruashu? If you hadn't suddenly assigned a sick servant to attend to Bayer, how could Bayer have fallen ill?" At first, I couldn't understand why you insisted on sending Bayer to the estate. It turns out you had long plotted to push Bayer to his death. Hearing this, old Madame Hua scolded, "Vicious woman, how dare you do such a thing?" Ruoshu hurriedly said, "It's not true, old madam. Please listen to my explanation." Old Madame Hua asked coldly, "Now that the witness is here, what is there to explain? If we say the matter of the Shadaozi today could have been a maid framing you, but now with both a witness and physical evidence, you still dare to argue." She said in fear, "This humble concubine did not do it on purpose. By the lake that day, I just accidentally bumped into the second Mississippi. And when choosing a servant for the young master, I didn't know this man was sick. This humble concubine has been wronged." Tianxin said sternly, "Concubine, you speak well. Every sentence absolves you of responsibility. But concubine Ruoshu has been in the mansion for so many years, always acting meticulously. How could you make such a trivial mistake?" She shouted, "The first miss holds a grudge against this humble concubine. I can understand that. But this humble concubine has always wished the first miss well. Everyone in the mansion knows this. Even if you gave me 100 times the courage, I would not dare to do anything to harm the young master." And the first Mississippi Tianxin continued, "Truly, you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Physician, please test the blood." After hearing this, Physician Liang took out a basin of water, poured a packet of powder into it, and then dropped in the handkerchief the servant had brought. Seeing this, she cried out, "No, I won't." But she was quickly forced down by the mansion servants. Then, a needle was used to prick her finger, making her cry out. A drop of blood fell into the water. Immediately, the colors in the basin mixed together, startling old Madame Hua Shouqing, and Ruoshu. Hua Shouqing slapped her and cursed, "You wretched thing, you dare say you didn't harm the children of the mansion. This handkerchief clearly has the blood stain of someone who had a miscarriage." She hurriedly knelt on the ground, crying, "Master, please believe me. I didn't harm him. I didn't harm anyone." Hua Shouqing ordered, "Guards, throw this venomous woman into the dungeon." She continued to beg, "Old madam, please." But old Madame Hua kicked her and scolded, "Swallow your words. We will pass judgment later." After dealing with Ruoshu, old Madame Hua was helped away by a servant. At that moment, someone rushed in from outside. Tianxin looked up and saw that it was Tianbei. Tianbei hugged her and asked, "How is it? Father and mother didn't blame you, did they?" "Don't worry, older brother. The truth is clear now. Grandmother didn't make things difficult for me. It's just that this time, I'm afraid concubine Ruoshu won't get away easily." In another courtyard, the door was pushed open. A servant pushed Ruoshu inside, saying, "Get in." She fell to the ground and turned her head to see Hua Shouqing and Muchio approaching. She hurriedly knelt and crawled closer, clinging to him and begging, "Master, master, this humble one knows her mistake. Please forgive this humble one this time. This humble one won't dare to do it again." Hua Shouqing angrily kicked her and asked, "Bitch, what do you know of your mistake? Then let me ask you, who is your lover?" She was startled. This humble one doesn't understand what master is saying. Hua Shouqing, enraged, grabbed her by the hair and cursed, "Bitch, you've become addicted to pretending, haven't you? You've always told everyone you were 2 months pregnant, but the physician just said it's 3 months. And 3 months ago, I was on patrol of the border. How could I have gotten you pregnant?" She cried and said, "I've been wrong, master." Even with 10,000 times the courage, this humble one would not dare to do something to betray you, master. "Older sister, you know me best. My courtyard is filled with only female servants. Even the dogs and cats are female. How could I do such a thing?" Muchio, standing behind, spoke coldly, "You are right. I know you best. A venomous heart and boundless schemes." Hearing this, Ruoshu was stunned and asked, "Older sister." Muchio said to her, "Back then, you used so many tricks to seduce Shouqing just to marry into the general's mansion. Now you've become shameless, fooling around with a man in the ancestral temple and even carrying a bastard child." Hearing this, she gritted her teeth and lunged forward, cursing, "How dare you slander me in front of the master?" Muchio threw a scroll at her face. She opened the scroll and was startled by Muchio's words. "Shinruoshu, you say I'm slandering you? Then how many times did you meet that man? And until what time each time? The monks in the ancestral temple know everything. Now it's in black and white. Look clearly at what's written on it. You still want to hide it." Hua Shouqing was furious, grabbing Ruoshu's head and forcing her to the ground, cursing, "Unfaithful bitch. Mucho calmed him. Master, don't be so angry. Let this one handle it. The ninth prince is still in the front courtyard. Ruashu was knocked down, blood trickling from her forehead, tears still welling in her eyes. Huashoqing snorted angrily, turned, and left, leaving only her and Mucio. She asked, trembling, "What do you want to do?" Mucio asked coldly, "You stole my husband, murdered my child, and wanted to poison me. What do you think I want to do?" Hearing this, Ruashu asked in shock, "So you knew everything?" Immediately after, two burly subordinates carrying weapons walked in. Painful screams instantly rang out. Tianxin was startled when she heard the noise. Suddenly, Danlang ran over, calling her. "Sinat, Sinat?" She asked angrily. "Your Highness, are we familiar enough for you to call me by my given name?" He smiled and asked, "You saved my life once, and now I've helped you in return. Isn't that familiar enough?" Huatianbei walked out from the mansion and said, "His Highness is right. Today, I was busy with guests in the front courtyard and couldn't get away. I must thank the ninth prince for protecting Xiner and preventing her from getting into trouble." Tianxin hurriedly asked her brother, "It's one thing for His Highness to speak nonsense, but why are you joining in?" Huatianbei smiled. "I'm not just joining in. Before the banquet today, grandmother said she wanted you and Yuer to go to the academy to study. If you can build a good relationship with His Highness, you won't have to fear being bullied by anyone in the future." Hearing this, Tianxin asked in surprise, "Brother, do you mean the ninth prince is also at Handan Academy?" She wondered to herself, "Oh heavens, does this mean I'll have to run into this guy all the time from now on?" Danlang laughed and asked, of course. Handan Academy is the school for the children of noble families in the capital. If I don't study there, where else would I go? She thought to herself, I always thought the princes had private tutors. Who knew they studied with the children of noble families? Isn't this openly giving the princes a chance to form factions? Huatianbei advised, Xiner, the ninth prince is very knowledgeable and has profound insights in academics. When you first start school, you should consult His Highness more often. She quickly waved her hands. Brother, I don't think we need to trouble the ninth prince. After all, I'm just a woman. A woman without talent is a virtue. Brother, you don't need to have high expectations for me. Danlang and Huatianbei were stunned upon hearing this. Just then, Lu Yi ran over calling Mississippi. She asked, "What is it?" Lu Yi continued, "Mississippi, the madam is looking for you for an urgent matter. Please follow this servant quickly." Donlong Koldar Sinat. Lu Yi led Tianxin away. "The madam is probably looking for you, miss, to discuss how to deal with concubine Ruashu. You need to be careful, miss." At this moment, Tianyu appeared from nowhere, grabbed Tianxin's arm, and scolded her. Tianxin, you are so vicious. You knew everything from the beginning and just stood by watching the concubine fall into the trap. Do you know that doing so could get someone killed? She laughed in return. Tianyu, you and Shen Ruashu are truly cut from the same cloth. You say I harmed someone, but if she hadn't intended to frame me for the miscarriage in the first place, that handkerchief wouldn't have been enough to convict her. Shin Ruashu brought all of this upon herself. Then she pushed Tianyu down and continued, Tianyu, I'm warning you, I am the daughter of the general. As long as I don't want you to live comfortably, you will suffer forever. Consider yourself lucky to have escaped this time. If you dare to have any selfish thoughts again, what happened to Shin Ruashu today will be your fate tomorrow. Hearing this, Tianyu gritted her teeth. You are not Hua Tianxin. Hua Tianxin is a weak coward, a fool who knows nothing. She could never say such words. Who on earth are you? She said sternly, I think you've gone mad with grief. To even say such foolish words. Do you know that what the emperor detests most right now are these superstitious words? If you keep spouting nonsense, just wait to die with that stupid concubine mother of yours. Louis, let's go. Behind them, Tianyu gritted her teeth. Hua Tianxin, I will absolutely not let you get away with this. At Shun Muchio's courtyard, Tianxin happily ran inside, calling out, Mother. As soon as Muchio saw her, she smiled and said, Xen is here, come over quickly. She sat down beside her mother, rested her chin on her hands, and asked, Did Mother summon me because of the concubine's matter? Her mother asked her, now that her crime is established, how does Xen think we should handle it? She said softly, Shin Ruashu was unrighteous. Logically, she should be drowned or beaten to death to prevent gossip and unease among the people. Muchio pondered, unfortunately, she is currently a concubine in the manor. Her every move represents our family's face. If we handle this harshly, it will have a negative impact on the general's manner and also hinder your older brother's future. She nodded. Mother is right. The matter of her using a miscarriage to frame me today also cannot be known by others. We must find a way to cover it up. Otherwise, with such a malicious concubine in the manor, I'm afraid outsiders will say father is incompetent and mother is useless, which would greatly damage our manor's reputation. Muccio smiled and stroked Tianxin's head, praising her. You are right. The living must pay attention to the bigger picture. You will also be married off and have to manage a rear courtyard. If you can always maintain this mindset and awareness, you will be able to protect yourself. She looked up and asked, then how does mother plan to deal with concubine Ra? She used medicine to abort the fetus, a grave sin. For now, let her stay in the Buddhist hall and chant sutras. We will decide after some time has passed. After hearing this, Tianxin thought to herself, sending the concubine to the Buddhist hall can both stop people's gossip by saying the concubine was heartbroken over losing her child and voluntarily went to the Buddhist hall to cultivate good karma and also confine her. When no one is paying attention anymore, punishing her won't arouse suspicion. She clapped her hands in praise. Mother is still the most thoughtful. Muccio smiled. You're still young. There are many things you still need to learn. There's this matter right now. Why don't you use it for practice? Tianxin was surprised. Mother wants me to handle concubine Rua's matter on your behalf? Her mother smiled and nodded. Yes, you go and relay the order in a bit. Today was a major event, and it's also your grandmother's birthday. I still have to go and console her first. You can take charge of the other matters. She patted her chest. Mother, rest assured, Xi and will definitely not disappoint you. Then, she and Lu Yi went out. While walking on the bridge, Lu Yi said, Miss, a matron just saw Lu Ping at the eldest Miss's place. She also heard Lu Ping crying and begging the eldest miss to let her return to her service. Hearing this, Tianxin asked, Oh, what did Hu Tianyu say? Lu Yi replied, The eldest miss naturally refused and told Lu Ping to continue staying at our place to serve you, miss. Tianxin chuckled. She's still quite stubborn. It's just a pity. The Shun woman is about to lose power. Her days are numbered. Then, in the courtyard, Shun Ruoshu asked in a panic, What did you say? The master wants to strip me of my status? Tianxin replied, Father has no time to deal with this nonsense of yours. Mother has given me full authority. From now on, you will stay in the Buddhist hall and repent on your own. She screamed, I don't believe it. You're lying to me. Although I was wrong this time, the fetus couldn't be saved anyway. The physician has testified. Besides, I am a registered dowry concubine. Without an official order, what right do you have to deal with me? Tianxin asked coldly, Why wouldn't I have the right? You dare to be promiscuous outside and commit acts that disgrace the family. So you must pay the price for your actions. She asked frantically, So what if you deal with me? Do you think that bitch Shinmucho will sit securely in her position as the general's manners madam? That body of hers is already broken. She won't live for much longer. By then, hearing this, Tianxin immediately slapped her. She said coldly, This slap is to teach you a lesson. If you dare to bring up my mother again, don't blame me for not being polite. Ruoshu spat out blood and said, When have you ever been polite to me? I'm about to die anyway. Tianxin slapped her again and scolded, You ungrateful thing. Lu Yi, slap her mouth for me. Teach this woman who doesn't know how to speak properly a good lesson. Lu Yi immediately replied, Yes, and then the sound of continuous slapping rang out. After a while, Ruoshu collapsed on the floor. Lu Yi asked, Miss, could you be dead? She walked up to her and said, Shun woman, from now on you are no longer a concubine in this manner. If you sincerely devote yourself to Buddhism in the future, I will grant you a way to live. If you still have other ideas, I will make sure not even your bones are left. Take her to the ancestral hall. Lu Yi bowed and replied, Yes. On this side, Tianyu walked to the front of Ruoshu's courtyard. Seeing the butler sealing it, she asked, Butler, what are you doing? Why are you sealing my concubine mother's courtyard? The butler smiled and replied, The concubine has been taken to the ancestral hall. This room is now empty, so the madam instructed me to seal it. Eldest miss, if you have any questions, please go and ask the madam. This humble one will take his leave. As soon as she heard this, Tianyu gritted her teeth and cursed. Damn it, I will absolutely not let you bully my concubine mother. In Tianxin's room, she was practicing calligraphy when Lu Yi pushed the door open and called, Miss, Huabat 2 is here. She nodded. Let her in. Lu Yi turned and said, Come in. Huabat too stepped inside and bowed. Legitimate Mississippi Tianxin nodded slightly and said softly, "Stand up. Have there been any movements from the Buddhist hall lately?" Huabat too replied, reporting to the legitimate Miss. "Yesterday, the Shun woman was taken to the Buddhist hall. The eldest Miss immediately went to the old madam to plead for her, but the old madam refused. Also, because of the gift incident, she sent the eldest Miss to the Buddhist hall to read scriptures for 3 days." Tianxin smiled coldly. Truly, fortune and misfortune are intertwined, as expected of a mother and daughter. Besides this, did they say anything else? Huabat too replied. Concubine Ruo asked the eldest Miss to beg the old madam to release her. But because the eldest Miss lost face at the birthday celebration, she refused Concubine Ruo. Because Concubine Ruo's courtyard has been sealed, even when the eldest Miss gets out of the Buddhist hall, she will have to move into a small courtyard. By then, her life will be even worse than Concubine Kai's. Hearing this, Lu Yi laughed with delight. "Serves them right for bullying you, Mississippi. They were really asking for it." Tianxin said, in the entire general's manner. "Only Hua Tianyu and Shun Ruoshu understand each other best. Now that they are locked up together, I'm afraid they will come up with other schemes. You all must watch them more closely. Report to me immediately if there is any news." Huabat too nodded. "Eldest Miss, rest assured, this old servant understands. This old servant will take her leave first." Tianxin hummed in agreement. "You may leave." She picked up the painting and said to Lu Yi, "Bring the painting. We're going to see grandmother." Lu Yi immediately replied, "Yes." At this moment, in the corridor, 2 palace maids were gossiping. "Our concubine is so pitiful. She hasn't even recovered her health and has already been sent to the Buddhist hall. The madam is really going too far." The palace maid next to her covered her mouth and said, "Are you trying to die? How dare you speak ill of the madam? Don't forget the eldest Miss has instructed that from now on, no one in the manor is to offend the madam, you know?" The other servant quickly covered her mouth. "I know. I won't dare to do it again." The other one nodded. "That's good. Also, Concubine Ruo has been stripped of her status. We can't call her that anymore. If others find out, it will harm the concubine and the eldest Mississippi. We should hurry up and go." They quickly left. But they bumped into a matron, causing her to drop a lamp. The matron scolded, "Are you trying to die? What's the hurry? Are you trying to get reincarnated?" The palace maid cried in fear and said, "This servant didn't do it on purpose. Please forgive me, ma'am." The matron grabbed her hand and scolded, "You little bitch, I see you're used to acting unruly in the Shen woman's courtyard. You really need to be taught a lesson." She quickly shouted, "Ma'am, this servant won't dare again. Please forgive this servant. This servant really won't dare again." At this moment, Tianxin and Lu Yi were passing by. Seeing the scene, Lu Yi said, "After Concubine Ruo lost power, the maids in her courtyard are also suffering. Now even a cleaning matron can bully them." Seeing this, Tianxin fell silent. Upon seeing her, the matron asked, "Miss, where are you going?" She spoke up and asked, "What are you all doing?" The 2 servants from Muchio's courtyard quickly pleaded, "Legitimate Miss, save us. Please save us." Tianxin came closer and asked, "Which household are you 2 from?" Suddenly the matron screamed, "Monster, run!" Seeing this, Tianxin was extremely confused. Lu Yi, holding the scroll of painting in her hand, asked, "Miss, this servant heard them shouting monster. What does that mean? Where'd a monster come from?" She shook her head. "I don't know either." "Forget it. Let's hurry and see grandmother." As the 2 approached the gate of old Madame Hua's courtyard, a matron stopped them. "Legitimate Miss, please go back. The old madam has already gone to rest." Tianxin thought to herself, "Grandmother usually doesn't sleep this early. Why so early today?" Lu Yi said to her, "But the old madam had instructed before that the legitimate Miss should bring the newly completed painting here tonight. If the old madam is already asleep, then please trouble the ma'am to take it in." The matron was startled upon hearing this, and quickly stopped her. "No, if the old madam instructed the legitimate Miss to deliver it personally, how would I dare to disobey the old madam's order? I hope the legitimate Miss will bring it again tomorrow." Then she quickly closed the door. Seeing this, Lu Yi asked, "Miss, why does this servant feel that this matron is very afraid of us?" She replied, "They are not afraid of you, but of me." Lu Yi asked Tianxin, confused, "Miss is not a fierce beast. Why would they be afraid of you, Miss?" Tianxin explained, "Before, my temperament was weak. I didn't dare to speak in front of others. Now, I am independent and I even handle the matter mother entrusted to me. The difference between before and now is too great. It's guaranteed to give others an opportunity to fabricate stories. Lu Yi quickly said, but Miss did it to protect the young master and the madam. Which blind person in the manor would dare to speak ill of you behind your back, miss? She asked coldly. In the entire general's manor, besides Shun's side, who else has a problem with me? Hearing this, Lu Yi was startled. Miss, you mean the eldest miss? Whether it's her or not, we'll know just by secretly investigating Lu Ping. After that, the two of them went to the place where Lu Ping lived and saw that the lights inside were still on, with voices coming from within. The eldest miss has instructed that you are to spread the rumor like this. Say that the legitimate miss is a demon. Her personality changed overnight, and she even learned medical skills. She must be a reincarnated demon who will bring disaster to the general's manor in the future. With this, you must spread it throughout the entire general's manor so that the old madam stays away from the legitimate miss. Tianxin was startled upon hearing this. Lu Yi was furious. This is too much. How dare they say that Miss is a demon? This servant must go reason with them. She said, I already expected Hua Tianyu to stir up trouble. If you rush in now, without any proof, what will you confront them with? You'll just alert the enemy. Lu Yi was worried, but we can't just let them speak ill of Miss behind her back. The old madam is already suspicious and has started to be on guard. If the general hears about this, I'm afraid even the madam won't be able to protect you, Mississippi. She smiled and said, what's there to be afraid of? I am upright and have nothing to fear. If they want to talk, let them talk. I want to see who can prove that I am a demon. The next day, Tianxin sat up and Lu Yi entered, calling out, Miss, the old madam invites you over. She rubbed her eyes. Did grandmother only summon me? Lu Yi immediately said, as far as this servant knows, the old madam also summoned the eldest miss. Tianxin sat up and said, my punishment period isn't even over, yet grandmother has already summoned me. There must be other arrangements. I want to see what grandmother intends to do. Then, Tianxin walked into old Madame Hua's courtyard and saw Tianyu holding her arm, helping her walk. As soon as she saw her, she immediately flashed a triumphant smile and said, I thought younger sister would sleep in late. Who knew you would also wake up so early? If I had known, I would have called for you to come along. Tianxin spoke up. Older sister's memory is a bit poor. Ever since mother invited a tutor to teach me literacy, I no longer wake up late. Next time, sister, please don't misremember, lest grandmother hears and blames me for being insensible. Hearing this, Tianyu could only force a smile. Tianxin performed her salutation. Grandmother. She took out a painting and said, this is the calligraphy that Exiner practiced the other day. I wanted to bring it for grandmother to inspect, but grandmother was already asleep, so Exiner brought it today. I hope grandmother will take a look. At this moment, in front of old Madame Hua, Tianxin's appearance was like a fierce ghost calling out to her grandmother, which frightened her. Seeing this, Tianyu smiled triumphantly, took the painting, and said, Grandmother, today we have invited the great master to clear the meridians. Let's not delay. I'll hold this for grandmother, so you can look at it later. Then the group walked inside and saw a great master standing there. Tianxin thought to herself, grandmother really believed Hua Tianyu's words. Did she really invite a great master to see if I'm a demon? Old Madame Hua said, Greetings, great master. The great master clasped his hands. Amit Ba, please be seated, patrons. Tianxin glanced at him and thought, could he possibly see that I've been reborn? Old Madame Hua said, Great master, these are my 2 granddaughters. In the future, they will have to attend school. Please enlighten us on their good fortunes. These are the 8 birth characters of the 2 children. The great master clasped his hands and asked, Old Madam is too kind. May I ask which of the 2 young patrons will go first? Tianyu smiled and said, Younger sister Exener is the legitimate daughter. The legitimate is superior, so of course, she should be seen first. Old Madame Hua glanced at her and said, Since you has said so, then Exen, you go first. Tianxin smiled. Then I shall trouble the great master. The great master stared intently at Tianxin and saw a plume of resentful energy crawling out of a well, which startled him. He hurriedly rubbed his eyes, opened them to look again, and saw a stream of purple light enveloping Tianxin, which startled him. Just a moment ago, he saw a demonic aura, and in a flash, it became an auspicious purple sign. Isn't this a sign that the legitimate miss will be noble and illustrious in the future? Seeing his expression, old Madame Hua quickly asked, "Great master, is something wrong?" He clasped his hands and replied, "The legitimate miss fell into the water and was reborn with 2 lives in 1 body. This humble monk has truly never seen such a fate before. I fear her karmic destiny is profound." Hearing this, Tianxin was stunned. He actually saw through me. Tianyu glanced at her and thought to herself, that frightened expression surely means she has a guilty conscience. She stepped forward, smiled, and said, "The great master reads people like a god. Younger sister Exiner did indeed fall into the water a few months ago. But how to explain this, reborn with 2 lives in 1 body?" The great master replied, "Every life is predestined by heaven. If heaven has granted the legitimate miss a second life, she must cherish it. Do not let the past blind you. As long as your heart is kind, you'll have a greatly noble destiny." Old Madame Hui fell silent after hearing this. Tianxin thought to herself, "This great master saw through my fate, but didn't intend to expose it completely. It seems he is a kind-hearted person." Tianxin clasped her hands and performed a salutation. "Thank you, great master, for your guidance. This young lady has been enlightened." After hearing this, old Madame Hua smiled with relief. "As long as my dear Exiner's heart is good, I can be at ease. I just hope that with the great master's auspicious words, she can become greatly wealthy and noble, which would be even better." Hearing this, Tianyu gritted her teeth. "Yesterday, I even had Hong Mai bring 50 taels of silver to this old bald swindler to expose Hua Tianxin as a demon. Why did he turn around and speak up for this little slut instead? What fortuitous encounter to become greatly wealthy and noble. Isn't that just elevating that wench higher than me?" She clenched her fists, stepped forward, and asked, "Great master, what did you mean when you said that heaven gave Exiner a second life? Could it be that Exiner already died when she fell into the water?" Old Madame Hua scolded, "Do not speak nonsense in front of the great master." She said resentfully, "Grandmother, Yuer is also just worried about younger sister Exiner. After all, ever since she fell into the water, the house has not been peaceful. Yuer is afraid that in the off chance younger sister Exiner." Before she could finish, old Madame Hua gave her a slap and scolded, "You insolent thing. What you're saying is no different from calling Exiner a demon, is it?" She held her face and asked, "Grandmother, you never thought of younger sister that way. It's just that rumors are spreading in the manor. Could it be that grandmother is not afraid?" Old Madame Hua thought to herself, "I did hear the rumors before and almost believed them. However, hearing the great master say that there is nothing wrong with Exiner, for you to bring this up again, she is truly becoming more and more ill-mannered." Tianxin smiled and spoke up, "Grandmother shouldn't be angry. I believe that older sister did not mean it. It must be those old matrons and maids in the rear courtyard who are spreading rumors and slandering me, wanting to drive a wedge between Exiner and grandmother." Hearing this, old Madame Hua praised her. "You have a kind heart and have never made enemies with anyone. Who would dare to spread rumors?" Tianxin pondered, "Let Exiner think." Hearing this, Tianyu was startled. Tianxin spoke up, "Exiner really can't think of who it is. Louis, can you think of anyone?" Louis, standing outside the door, spoke up, reporting to Miss, "You have always stayed in the madam's courtyard. Except for concubine Rua's courtyard, you rarely interact with people from other places. The rumors must have started from the madam's courtyard." Hearing this, Tianxin frowned. "Then that's strange. In mother's courtyard, everyone is well-behaved and never acts without knowing right from wrong." Lu Yi crossed her arms, glanced towards Lu Ping, and said, "But miss, Lu Ping is not from our courtyard. This servant has seen her running outside every few days, often gathering with other maids and old matrons. The rumors must have been spread by her." Tianxin gave Lu Yi a look. Lu Yi hurriedly ran outside. Lu Ping said in fear, "Old madam, please quell your anger. This servant knows her mistake. This servant will not dare to do it again." Old Madame Hua ordered, "Drag Lu Ping down, slap her mouth 50 times, and beat her to death." Hearing this, Lu Ping hurriedly explained, "Old madam, this servant was also forced. It was the eldest miss, she." Before she could finish, Tianyu swung her hand and slapped her across the face, scolding, "You wretched maid, you dare to spread rumors to harm younger sister Exer, and now you dare to make excuses?" Lu Ping grunted and asked, "Eldest miss, you clearly." Tian Yu quickly stuffed a cloth into Lu Ping's mouth and said, "This wretched maid speaks nonsense. Now that her mouth is blocked, let's see if you still dare to speak ill of younger sister Exiner." Then she was dragged away. Tianxin smiled and thought, "Ruoshu, the spy you placed by my side has finally been eliminated by grandmother. Now that I've destroyed this chess piece, let's see how arrogant you can still be." The great master at the side spoke up, "Umitba, although the young maid offended the young patron, heaven has the virtue of cherishing life. Why must you pursue her to the point of extermination? To watch so coldly from the side now truly chills one's heart." Umitba, hearing this, Tianxin was startled and thought, "I truly have changed too much after being reborn. Before, I would feel sad for a long time, even seeing a small bird with a broken wing. Why can I now coldly watch a maid being beaten to death? Could it be that blinded by hatred, I will become a cruel and ruthless person? If I continue like this, what difference is there between me and Shen Ruoshu?" She clasped her hands in salutation. The great master is absolutely right. This young lady has been enlightened. She turned to old Madame Hua and said, "Grandmother, please consider that this is Lu Ping's first offense and spare her life." Hearing this, old Madame Hua was surprised, then sighed. "Very well, since Exener has spoken up, then just slap her mouth and sell her off to someone else." The great master clasped his hands. "Umitba, the young patron is kind-hearted. In the future, your benevolence will be vast, and your profound virtue will bring you great honor." Old Madame Hua smiled and asked, "Just now, the great master gave guidance to Exener. I wonder if he could also give guidance to you?" The great master replied, "Of course. I'll trouble the young patron to extend her hand." Tian Yu said softly, "I'll have to trouble the great master. I hope you can help this young lady and not let this young lady down." Then she held out her hand and thought, "I spent so much money to invite this monk, and he spoke well of Hua Tianxin, which is infuriating enough. If my fortune reading is also worse than hers, I will definitely teach him a lesson." The great master said, "Patron's fate is also noble. However, you lack a bit of your younger sister's kind-heartedness. If this continues long-term, I fear your fate may change." Hearing this, Tian Yu became angry. "Great master, are you implying that Yuer's heart is not kind, that I commit many evil deeds? Yuer is a well-behaved lady of the inner residence. How could I possibly do evil? And what's this about my fate changing? Isn't that going too far?" Hearing this, old Madame Hua hurriedly called out, "Yue," she thought, "this old bald head, I'll show you in a moment." Old Madame Hua said to the great master, "My granddaughter has been spoiled since she was young. Please don't blame her, great master." He replied, "Patron, you are overthinking it. This humble monk has disturbed you for a long time. I shall take my leave." "Please, old madam, there's no need to see me out." After that, the great master walked out of the Hua mansion. Just as he stepped out, someone shouted, "Stop!" The great master turned his head and asked Tian Yu, "Umitba, is there something you need, young patron?" Tian Yu angrily questioned him. "You bald swindler, you took 100 taels of silver from me, and this is how you do your job? Don't even think about leaving until you give me a satisfactory answer." That great master put his palms together in a salute. This humble monk has followed the young patron's instructions and read the fortunes of the two ladies. May I ask where this humble monk went wrong? Furthermore, this humble monk has, on the young patron's behalf, used that silver to buy white rice and green vegetables, giving them as alms for 3 days to those outside the city, thereby increasing the young patron's merits. How virtuous! How virtuous! She gritted her teeth and cursed. "You damn bald head, how dare you trick me?" After she went inside the mansion, her servant said, "Young miss, the old madam now strongly believes this monk's words, and she has a different opinion of the eldest miss now. What should we do?" She angrily cursed. "Get lost." Hearing this, the frightened servant called out. Eldest Mississippi Tian Yu gritted her teeth. "You idiot, wasn't this your stupid idea? You can't even handle such a small matter. It's all your fault. Every single one of you is a useless piece of trash." The next day, in old Madame Hua's courtyard, Tianxin was pouring tea for her. Old Madame Hua spoke up and asked, "Exina, where did you read about these treatments for miscellaneous illnesses?" Tianxin thought for a moment and then recalled, "Grandmother, Exina once went out and met an old man selling books. Seeing that the old man was pitiful, I bought all of them on a whim so that he could go home and rest early. I never expected that upon flipping through them, I would discover that I had found a treasure. The medicinal formulas for treating the plague this time were all found in them. Old Madam Huan nodded with a sound of affirmation. Your meeting was a form of fate. Just as the great master said, all things are subject to cause and effect. Planting good seeds yields good fruit. I hope that in the future, you can continue to maintain such a pure heart. Hearing this, Tianxin smiled and nodded. Xiner will remember grandmother's teachings. However, Xiner has a matter to report to grandmother. She was surprised, though. What is it? She rubbed her chin and continued. Xiner wants to take these old books to be repaired. After all, they are extremely precious old editions. Unfortunately, I rarely leave the mansion, so I don't know anyone, nor do I know if they can be repaired. She patted her head. I thought it was something serious. Leave this matter to me. I'll have someone take care of it. Tianxin smiled. Thank you, grandmother. Grandmother truly has the heart of a bodhisattva. She laughed. You clever little imp. In a few days, you'll be going to the academy to study, so grandmother will have nothing to worry about. Just then, Tianyu pushed the door open, ran in, and called out, Grandmother, you said you would let me and Xner go to school. It's been a whole month. Why isn't there a specific date yet? She asked. The other day when I said I would send you sisters to school, I didn't see you being happy at all. Why are you in such a hurry now? She remembered Ming Lang, her face flushing as she asked, what does grandmother mean by that? Does Yura look like someone who is uneducated and unskilled? Seeing her expression, old Madame Hua thought to herself, Yura is suddenly shy. Could it be that she already has someone in her heart? However, the women of the inner residence rarely meet men from the outside. The only time Yua met one was at the birthday banquet. She smiled and asked, So, it turns out you've taken a liking to the ninth prince, Yua? Her face turned bright red. Grandmother, you're so mean, teasing Yua like this. Yua isn't talking to you anymore. She laughed. Oh, him? What's there to be shy about? The ninth prince is a dragon among men, and he is favored by the emperor. It's normal for you to be fond of him. If you two were to become a good match, it would be a celebrated story in this capital city. Hearing this, she asked, Does grandmother saying this mean you agree to arrange the marriage for Yua? She replied, You are the eldest granddaughter of the general's mansion. If grandmother doesn't arrange it for you, who will? Just leave this matter to grandmother. She replied, Yua understands. Grandmother is the best. Tianxin, who was standing to one side, heard this and her face darkened. Tianxin angrily walked out of old Madame Hua's courtyard. Lu Yi hurriedly chased after her, calling out, young miss, please slow down. This servant can't keep up. She stopped abruptly. Lu Yi, not being careful, bumped into her, let out a cry, and asked, Young miss, what's wrong? The old madam was very pleased with you today. She even bestowed these pastries before we left. Why are you not happy and seem angry instead? She replied resentfully, Where am I angry? As for these pastries, take them and distribute them to the maids in the courtyard. I don't want them. Lu Yi mumbled, but these were bestowed upon young miss by the old madam. Which servant would dare? She turned around. I said to distribute them, so distribute them. I don't like them. No matter who gives them to me, I don't want them. Seeing this, Lu Yi wondered to herself, why did the young miss suddenly get so angry? Could it be that I said something wrong? In her own courtyard, Tianxin sat at her desk and sighed. She lightly tapped the ink stick against the inkstone, causing it to spill onto the paper. Startled, she angrily threw the paper away. Then her face flushed. What am I angry about? Whoever wants to marry him can marry him. What does it have to do with me? She imagined him with his arms around a woman and thought, he is the ninth prince. He's guaranteed to have a flock of wives and concubines. If Tianyu marries him, she will only suffer. I should be happy, really. But why can't I feel happy? Even hearing grandmother promise to help with the marriage. This time, I felt an unbearable anger and discomfort in my heart. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Her mother came inside. As soon as she saw her, she asked, Mother, why are you here? She replied, I was a little bored sitting in my room, so I came to see how you were doing. Mother isn't disturbing your calligraphy practice, am I? She replied, What are you saying, Mother? Please, come and sit here. She glanced over and saw paper strewn all over the floor. Tianxin then ran over and said to her, Mother, have some tea first. You can look at the account book slowly. There's no hurry. She said, You know, I've always been calm. How could I be in a hurry? But you seem to be angry about something, which is why you look so melancholic. Hurry and tell Mother what it is. It's nothing. I just felt a little uncomfortable hearing grandmother mention going to school. Her mother said, I thought it was some big deal, but it turns out to be this. Speaking of which, your grandmother just came to see me about you and you're going to school. She immediately asked, what did grandmother say? She said, at the academy, besides the young masters from noble families, there are also several princes from the palace. Once you are there, you will naturally see them day and night. If you happen to take a liking to someone. She was surprised. So grandmother wants mother to step in and help Hua Tianyu choose a husband? Her mother continued. The old madam mentioned the ninth prince, but the ninth prince previously had a marriage agreement with you. Shen Ruoqiu married your father. I don't want you to follow in my footsteps. So, Exiner, I'm asking you, what do you think of the ninth prince in your heart? Her face flushed red. Mother Chiu said to Tianxin, I heard from Bayer that ever since you and the ninth prince met at the village, the ninth prince has become very attentive towards you. A few days ago, at your main mother's grand birthday celebration, not only did he proactively approach you when things happened, but he also focused on protecting you. He was so thorough that even I, an outsider, could see his feelings. Don't you understand? She said softly, I understand, but he is ultimately a member of the royal family. He may be deeply affectionate now, but it's hard to guarantee he won't have a change of heart in the future. I'm just afraid that in the future, he will have a flock of wives and concubines. Where would I be placed then? Mother Chiu asked her. So from the very beginning, you had no intention of marrying him? Hearing this, she pressed her lips together and did not answer. Mother Chiu sighed. Well, if you don't want to marry him, I won't force you. I'm just afraid it might be a bit troublesome on your father's side. Hearing that, she asked in surprise. He is not yet married, and I am not yet wed. If there are no such feelings, we can't just refuse directly. How does this involve father? Her mother covered her mouth and laughed. What silly word are you saying? A marriage bestowed by the royal family. Can you just call it off whenever you want? However, no matter how difficult Exiner's wishes are, mother will agree with you. So, what does this little heart of yours truly want? She broke into a sweat. Then, Mother, let me think about it carefully. That evening, in old Madame Hua's courtyard, a mama asked her, the legitimate young Mrs. Engagement to the ninth prince is a great joyous occasion that brings glory to the general's mansion. Why is the old madam so gloomy? Old Madame Hua's hand, which was counting prayer beads, stopped, and she sighed. If I hadn't gone to find Mother Chiu last night to talk about Yuer's matter, I still wouldn't have known that she was hiding from me her intention to arrange a marriage for Exiner. So this is what has been troubling the old madam's heart. Old Madame Hua shook her head. No, that's not it. Today, I even acted as a matchmaker for Yuer and the ninth prince right in front of Exiner. I don't know if that girl Exiner will blame me. The mama smiled. The legitimate young miss was raised by the madam. After all, she is generous and broad-minded. Old madam, please don't overthink it. She stood up. I can only hope so. After this medical book is bound tomorrow, I will test that girl Exiner's heart. The next day, Tianxin ran to Mother Chiu's courtyard and called out, Mother. She was sitting in front of the mirror. Hearing the call, she turned her head and asked, What's the matter? Why are you in such a hurry? Mother, the 4 o'clock flowers I planted in the garden before have bloomed. I want to go see them with you. Mother Chiu asked her, 4 o'clock flowers? Tianxin hurriedly pulled her along. Mother, you'll know as soon as you come see them with me. Causing her to gasp in surprise. Just as the two of them walked out of the courtyard, they ran into Tianyu approaching. She called out, Mother. Tianxin looked at her and thought, It's her. She's not in her room. Coming here so early in the morning to fawn over Mother. Is she trying to plead for Shen Ruoqiu? She came before them and asked respectfully. Yuer pays her respects to Mother. We haven't seen each other for a few days. Is Mother's health still good? She nodded. Yes, that's better. Has Yuer been busy lately? She replied. Yuer has been chanting sutras with grandmother recently, wanting to atone for sins and accumulate merit for concubine Mother. Mother Chiu smiled and hummed in agreement. It's good that you have the heart. She continued to speak. Mother, concubine Mother has been confined in the Buddhist hall for many days now. Yuer wants to. Before she could finish speaking, Tianxin called out, Mother, look, the garden is right ahead. Let's go look at the flowers quickly. Whatever elder sister wants to say, it's not too late to find Mother later to say it. Mother Chiu nodded. All right, as you wish. As you wish, walk a little slower. Then, the mother and daughter left, leaving Tianyu behind. She clenched her fists and gritted her teeth, thinking, Damn bitch, you think this will make me give up? In your dreams. She hurriedly called out, Mother. Mother Chiu frowned. Is there something else, Yua? She smiled and said, Yuer sees that Mother is in high spirits and happy today, and wants to accompany Mother. Tianxin asked Tianyu, "Isn't elder sister going to worship Buddha with grandmother today?" She immediately said, "Younger sister Exang, it's still early now. I'll go with grandmother in the afternoon. I'll stay with mother first." Tianxin turned her back and said, "Oh, if elder sister likes to follow, then just come along." Tianyu ran over to support Mother Chiu. "Mother, please slow down. I'll support you. Don't bump into anything." Mother Chiu softly hummed in agreement. Yuer is truly filial. On the way, Tianyu told Mother Chiu, "Mother, yesterday I saw some very rare purple jasmine flowers in the garden. You must take a look later." The group continued on like that. Tianyu looked around, then pointed to the jasmine flowers and said, "Mother, look, that is the purple jasmine." As soon as she saw this bush of flowers, Mother Chiu covered her mouth in surprise. It really is purple. It doesn't look like ordinary jasmine. Tianxin came closer, touched it, and said, "Actually, jasmine is also called the rouge flower. Not only is its color strange, but it also has the effect of clearing heat, detoxifying, and promoting blood circulation." She glanced at Tianyu behind her and thought to herself, "It's just a pity that the flower I planted was used by you to tell mother. The more I look at you, the more pleasing to the eye you become." Tianyu was startled when she saw herself being glanced at. Mother Chiu smiled and said, "Exine is so knowledgeable. I heard this type of purple jasmine is very easy to grow. It can be grown anywhere. Every year, before the chaos of war, every household grew them." Hearing that, she covered her mouth and laughed. "Is this flower so common? And here I thought it was very rare, so I wanted mother to see it." She stepped closer and plucked a petal. Tianyu also came closer, plucked a flower to sniff it, then threw it down and snorted coldly. "It's one thing to be common, but it doesn't even have a bit of fragrance. It's not worthy of being planted with the magnolias and peonies around here. When I get back, I'll have people pull them out." Tianxin picked up the flower she had just thrown on the ground and said, "This flower growing here hasn't done anything to offend elder sister. If you don't like it, just don't look at it. Why must you be so harsh? Besides, I planted this flower myself. It is often said that even when you beat a dog, you must consider its owner. Elder sister wants to destroy it without my consent. How can this be?" Hearing this, she was startled. "Younger sister Exen, don't be angry. If I had known earlier that you planted it, I wouldn't have said that." Tianxin just nodded and replied, "Lu, take this flower and all the other bloomed ones, pick them, dry them, and then we can use them." Lu immediately obeyed. This servant understands. Tianyu was curious. Younger sister Exiner's medical skills are getting more and more impressive. "I just don't know what this flower is used for." She replied, "Oh, it just helps regulate menstruation. Since elder sister can't use it, you don't need to care about it." She said, "Younger sister Exiner is right. I indeed don't need it for the time being. It's just that your medical skills are so good. Why don't you take a look at me?" Tianxin refused. "Although I have read a few medical books, I know nothing about menstruation. I can't help." Hearing that, she asked coldly, "You even have a way to deal with the plague. How could you not understand a small matter like this? Or is it that you don't want to help me?" Tianxin quickly hid behind her mother and asked, "Why is elder sister so fierce? If I had a way, how could I not help?" She broke out in a sweat. "No, it's not that. I was just a little anxious. I didn't mean to yell at younger sister Exiner." At this moment, Mother Chiu, who was between them, spoke up. You have seen many doctors, and none of them had a solution for your condition. I know you're anxious, but Exiner is only 13 years old. Do you really think she can cure it?" Tianyu frowned and pressed her lips together, saying nothing. Tianxin turned to her mother and said, "Mother, don't blame elder sister either. If I were at elder sister's age and still didn't have my menstruation, I would surely be even more worried than her." She curled her lip and replied, "Where am I blaming her? I'm just afraid your elder sister will be unhappy in her heart, thinking you deliberately refuse to help and will hold a grudge against you." Tianxin smiled again and turned to ask, "Elder sister is not a narrow-minded person, right, elder sister?" She could only force a smile and reply, "Younger sister Exiner is right. It was me who was impatient. Mother is still the most thoughtful." But in her heart, she was cursing frantically. This damn bitch taking advantage of my concubine mother being locked in the Buddhist hall to gang up and look down on me. Mother Chiu couldn't be bothered to talk to her and found an excuse to leave. "It's good that you understand. I've been out for a while. My body is a bit tired, so I'll go back to my room first." Hearing that, she quickly said, "Then let this daughter see mother off." But before she could finish speaking, Tianxin interrupted. Elder sister still has to go worship Buddha with grandmother. The matter of escorting mother back to her courtyard doesn't need to trouble you. Then she hurriedly ran after her mother and left. Tianyu stood behind, gritting her teeth and spitting out each word, little bitch. She furiously trampled on the flower bed that Tianxin had just reprimanded her over. Little bitch. The servant beside her reminded, Eldest miss, these are the flowers the legitimate miss planted with her own hands. If the legitimate miss finds out. As soon as she heard that, she angrily raised her foot and kicked the servant in the stomach. The female servant collapsed in pain, clutching her stomach. Her face darkened as she cursed, damned slave girl. When did it become your turn to speak? Wait until concubine mother comes out of the Buddhist hall. We'll see how long they can be smug. On the way back, Tianxin asked her mother, Mother, do you believe that elder sister you genuinely wanted to make you happy? She laughed and asked, Silly accent, what do you think? She pouted, showing her disdain. Mother already knew she was pretending to have good intentions. Why still be close to her? Mother Chiu chuckled and asked, If I'm not close to her, how would I know she has such a shrewd mind? Tianxin was bewildered. Xer doesn't understand. Mother Chiu asked her, Then why don't you think carefully? Yura was raised by Shinrua Chiu. Her temper is extremely hot-headed. According to her personality, knowing that I imprisoned her mother, what would she do? Tianxin immediately replied, she would definitely hate mother to the bone. Mother Chiu's tone became more serious as she asked, Today, not only did she come out to curry favor with me, she also repeatedly endured the sarcasm from you. Is that something a girl with a simple mind should have? Hearing that, Tianxin stopped. She recounted, Mother is not wrong. A few days ago, she even came to our door to cause trouble for me over Shun Yuecho's matter. It's only been a few days, and she seems to have become a different person. If not for this conversation with Mother, I wouldn't have noticed the change in Huo Tianyu. Seeing that her daughter understood, Mother Chiu smiled and advised, It's good that you understand what I'm saying. Later, when you go to the academy, I won't be able to protect you anymore. You must be a little careful. She quickly threw herself into her mother's arms and replied happily, Yes, I know, Mother. The two had just returned to the courtyard when someone ran up and called, Legitimate miss, causing her to turn her head and ask, Huh? That matron approached the two of them and reported respectfully, This servant pays respects to madam, pays respects to the legitimate Mississippi. The old madam has a matter to discuss and invites the legitimate miss to come over. Hearing this, Mother Chiu urged, Your grandmother must have something urgent to tell you. You should go over there quickly. Old Madam Hua led Tianxin to the front of the building and said to her, Exo, my girl, get out of the carriage first. She stepped down, looked around, and asked grandmother, What is this place? Old Madam Hua gave a gentle smile. You will know once we go inside in a moment. Tianxin hurriedly ran after her, replying, Yes, yes. But suspicion arose in her heart. Grandmother brought me here. Could it be related to that book? As they got closer, a figure appeared. An old man with his hair in a high bun and a beard stepped out. As soon as he saw them, he greeted, Old Madam, you have arrived. Old Madam Hua smiled and introduced, Exile, let me introduce you. This is Uncle Fong, who helped you repair the 100 Herbs record. He was also your grandfather's capable officer back then. Tianxin bowed in greetings, Uncle Fong. Uncle Fong gestured for them to enter. Good. Greetings, legitimate Mississippi. Please come inside. Tianxin stepped into the residence, sniffed the air for a moment, and then hurriedly ran off. She ran to the racks of medicinal herbs drying in the courtyard and couldn't help but exclaim, There are so many medicinal herbs here. Old Madam Hua spoke on her behalf. This granddaughter of mine is very active. I hope you don't mind. Uncle Fong replied, Why would the old madam say that? The legitimate miss has a sincere temperament, very much in the style of the general back then. This is a good thing. Tianxin picked up each type of herb, sniffing it while reciting its name. This is Planago. A diuretic, stops diarrhea, clears heat, and detoxifies. Dandelion treats swelling and bruises, has the effect of clearing heat and detoxifying. There is also purslane, reduces heat, promotes urination, and dispels dampness. Mugwort warms and dispels dampness and soothes coughs. After listening, Uncle Fong stroked his beard and praised, Old Madam, the legitimate miss is so young yet knows so many medicinal herbs. She is truly a prodigy in pharmacology. The old madam smiled. That is why I brought her here. If she can continue her research here, it would be her greatest fortune. Uncle Fong quickly said, Old madam, please don't say that. When the general was alive, he treated me very well. If I can teach the legitimate miss, it could be considered repaying the general's kindness. After a while, Tianxin ran back holding a type of herb and called out, "Grandmother, Uncle Fong." She held the herb high. Exiner wants to ask Uncle Fong something. Uncle Fong smiled and asked, "Oh, I wonder what the legitimate miss wants to know." She immediately asked, "It's just that Exiner sees that these medicinal herbs are very precious. All the pharmacies in the capital city can't find many of them. I wonder where Uncle Fong gets these herbs from." After hearing this, he stroked his beard and laughed heartily, not expecting the legitimate miss to be so eager to learn. He bent down and patted her head. "Old madam, I will definitely take this disciple." Old madam, who couldn't help but ask joyfully, "Really? Now that you've said it, you can't go back on your word." Uncle Fong replied, "People like us always keep our word. We won't go back on what we've said." Tianxin heard this, but didn't understand anything. She turned to ask old Madame Hua, "Grandmother, what are you and Uncle Fong talking about? Why can't Exiner understand?" She asked her, "Exiner, my girl, do you remember the 100 Herbs manual you gave me last time?" She nodded, "Yes, I do." After giving the 100 Herbs manual to grandmother, Uncle Fong helped correct it, but Exiner still didn't understand. She spoke up. When Uncle Fong was correcting it, he accidentally discovered that the herbal medicine content inside all came from the Fong family. Tianxin was puzzled, but the 100 Herbs manual was clearly given to me by a beggar. Uncle Fong explained, "It's shameful to say, but the beggar the legitimate miss met might be my older brother who was displaced by the war." Hearing this, Tianxin was startled. "So that's how it is." She ran over to them. "No wonder Uncle Fong understands pharmacology, and there are so many herbs drying in the garden. It turns out you come from a family of physicians." He stroked his beard and smiled. "We can't be considered a prestigious family. It's just that the past few generations have all practiced medicine, and with the wishes left by our ancestors, every generation of the Fong family has followed the path of developing medical skills." Tianxin asked curiously, "Then isn't Uncle Fong very skilled?" Uncle Fong replied, "I wouldn't say skilled. After all, the field of medicine is vast. One must persevere with one's original intention and never stop learning." Tianxin nodded after hearing this. "Oh, what Uncle Fong says is right." He extended his hand in invitation. "I see you have a talent for medicine. Are you willing to learn medicine from me and help the common people of the world?" She frowned and hesitated. "But Old Madam Hua spoke up, "Little girl, what are you still hesitating about? If you can learn and become accomplished, even if you can't bear the responsibility of helping the common people, at the very least you can take good care of your mother." After hearing this, Tianxin was enlightened. Grandmother is right. Even if it's just for my mother, I must seize this opportunity. So she immediately performed the ceremony to acknowledge him as her master. Your foolish disciple pays respects to master. I hope master will not dislike me. Seeing this, old Madam Hua laughed heartily. Good, this is the bearing a woman of our family should have. Uncle Fong came forward, patted her shoulder, and said, "Now that you have acknowledged me as your master, I, as your master, also have a great gift to give you." Tianxin frowned and asked, "A great gift?" He clasped his hands behind his back, walked into the house, and called, "Follow me." She replied, "Yes," and hurried after him. Inside the room, there was a chest placed on the tea table. She looked at it, her eyes full of curiosity. "Master, what is this?" He said nostalgically, "These are the medical books passed down through generations of the Fong family's ancestors." He went over and opened the chest. It was filled with books. He introduced, including the 100 Herbs manual that your grandmother brought. There are 11 volumes in total. Tianxin spoke up, "Then these are all rare treasures." He nodded. "Yes, every stroke and every sentence is the life's work of my ancestors over several generations. Now I am entrusting them to you." Tianxin was startled. "To me?" She stepped back and waved her hands. "But these are too precious. Exiner cannot accept this responsibility." He sighed. "No matter how precious something is, if it's forgotten, it becomes worthless. Besides, as your master, I will naturally do my utmost to pass on my medical skills to you. Would I hold anything back?" She hesitated, but before she could finish, he sat down and interrupted her. "There are no buts. Take these and study them carefully. Strive to one day have a medical book of your own." After hearing this, Tianxin was stunned for a moment, then bowed. "Yes, your disciple understands. I will definitely not disappoint, master." Uncle Fong was pleased. "Good, that's my good disciple." After the master acknowledging ceremony, old Madame Hua and Tianxin left the Fong residence. She instructed Exiner, your master has entrusted you with the life's work of his entire lineage. From now on, you must take good care of it and absolutely must not disappoint your master. She hugged the chest and replied, Grandmother, Exiner will definitely take good care of these books. Uncle Fong stroked his beard and said, I just said these words to her. Exiner is calm and cautious. One day, she will surely become a famous female physician. Old Madame Hua smiled happily and said to Uncle Fong, as you say, it would be wonderful if Exiner could truly achieve such accomplishments. It's getting late. We should go back. Uncle Fong bowed, respectfully seeing old Madame off. Tianxin waved goodbye to him. Goodbye, master. He smiled and replied, Goodbye, Exiner. Go on home now. Then, the grandmother and granddaughter climbed into the carriage and returned to the Hua residence. The carriage stopped as soon as it reached the Hua residence. Just as old Madame Hua lifted the curtain, she heard Mu Chio call out, Mother. She immediately asked, It's cold out here. What are you doing standing there? Mu Chio came forward to help her into the residence, saying, Your daughter-in-law is not cold. Your daughter-in-law was just worried about Mother's safety. Only by seeing Mother return safely can I be at ease. Old Madame Hua smiled and advised, You are so filial, but your health is not good. You should hurry inside. As it happens, I have something to tell you. Mu Chio went into old Madame Hua's courtyard. After hearing, she asked in surprise, What? Exiner has taken Mr. Fong as her master? Old Madame Hua nodded and replied, Yes. Mu Chio asked again in surprise. Mr. Fong has always been aloof. When the Duke was still alive, no amount of persuasion could make him agree. Why did he suddenly take Exiner as a disciple? Old Madame Hua answered, This is our Exiner's destiny. A few days ago, the great master even did a divination for Exiner, saying that our Exiner has a bright future. Isn't this slowly coming true? After hearing this, Mu Chio replied, So that's how it is. She turned to caress Tianxin and advised, Then Exiner must study hard. Don't disappoint your grandmother. She patted her chest and replied, Yes, yes, mother, please rest assured. This time, master gave me many books. I'm going to study them a bit. Mu Chio nodded in satisfaction and praised, Good, good. It's good that you have this determination. I'll tell the kitchen to keep dinner for you. Su Xing, take the legitimate miss back to her room to have her meal. Su Xing stepped inside and said, Miss, let's go. Tianxin bowed. Then Exiner will take her leave. In Tianxin's courtyard, she was reading the books Uncle Fong had given her. Louis asked her, Miss, these illustrations are either covered in blood or show dissections. Are these really medical books? Tianxin said softly, You don't understand. Ordinary physicians only diagnose and prescribe medicine. But these days, there are countless difficult illnesses. How can they be cured by ordinary means? Louis was curious, but this servant feels pain just looking at them. Aren't you scared, miss? She opened a book and asked, Silly girl, it's not as scary as you say. As soon as Louis saw the images in the book, she was terrified, but this servant still feels. Outside, Mu Chio was passing by Tianxin's courtyard and asked, Why is the light still on in the room? Her servant replied, This servant heard from Louis that after the young miss finished dinner, she closed her door to read. She probably isn't finished yet. She smiled, so that's how it is. The servant asked her, Does madam wish to go in? She replied, No, let's not. It's rare for Exiner to find something she likes and is so focused on. So let's just leave her be. Tell the kitchen to prepare some food and bring it to Exiner later. In Mu Chio's courtyard, she was holding a teacup, blowing on it gently, while Tianxin sat beside her, reading a book. Just then, the sound of footsteps made her look up. Tianyu stepped inside and bowed in greeting. The daughter greets mother. I hope mother won't blame me for being late. Mu Chio smiled. Arriving for breakfast isn't considered late. Since you're here, sit down and eat with us. She replied yes. After sitting down, she turned and asked, Isn't little sister Exener eating? Mu Chio smiled and said, She's been engrossed in her books these past few days. She doesn't even budge when you call her loudly. Let's eat first. Hearing this, she raised an eyebrow. Then she smirked smugly. I heard from Hong May before that this little bitch brought back a chest from outside. I thought it was some rare treasure, but it turns out it's just a pile of tattered books. Well, it seems grandmother doesn't favor her that much after all. At this moment, Mu Chio spoke up. I called you here today because I have something to discuss with you. She said, Please speak, mother. Mu Chio smiled. In the past, my health was poor, so all matters in the mansion, big and small, were handled by her concubine mother. Now that I am better, I want to arrange a marriage for you. Hearing this, she immediately smiled and replied, Your daughter will follow mother's arrangements. Mu Chio nodded. Very well, I will ask the matchmaker to make inquiries. If there is a young master from a noble family of a suitable age, we will decide. Hearing this, she was stunned. A young master from a noble family? But didn't grandmother say she would marry me to the ninth prince? Muccio nodded. Yes, your grandmother did mention it to me. But the ninth prince is of royal blood, and the requirements for choosing a wife are very high. As you're the daughter of a concubine, it will be very difficult. Hearing this, she patted her chest and said, Mother, if I cannot be the primary wife, your daughter is willing to be a concubine. She slammed the table angrily and scolded. Nonsense. You are a descendant of the general's mansion. There has never been a case where a descendant of our generals became someone's concubine instead of a primary wife. She asked with tears in her eyes, but your daughter truly likes the ninth prince. Can't mother think of a way? Muccio replied, if I had another way, why wouldn't I help you? But there is a difference between legitimate and concubine-born. Let alone me. Even your grandmother is powerless. But rest assured, without the ninth prince, a young master from a noble family is not bad either. She shouted angrily, your daughter doesn't want a young master from a noble family. Your daughter wants the ninth prince. If mother doesn't want what's best for your daughter, then just don't help. Why use this reason as an excuse? Muccio said, I have always treated you as my own daughter. I never expected you to say such things. It truly disappoints me. From now on, you will be in charge of your own marriage. I will not concern myself with it anymore. Hearing this, she asked, what does mother mean by this? I am of age now. If mother will not arrange things for me, who will? Or does mother want me to be alone until I am old? To never marry in my entire life and become the laughingstock of the entire city? She was so angry she started coughing. As soon as Tianxin saw she was unwell, she frowned, stood up, and scolded. Older sister, you clearly know mother's health is poor, yet you deliberately provoke her? You were raised by concubine mother's side since you were young, let alone showing filial respect to mother. The number of times you've come to pay your respects can be counted on one hand. Since you were unfilial first, on what grounds do you blame mother? Never mind, not helping you get together with the ninth prince. Even if mother were to close her eyes and randomly pick someone to marry her off to, it would be for the best. Tianxin loudly commanded, Lu Exant, escort her out. If you let her anger mother, I will not spare you. Hearing her call, Lu and Lu Exant immediately stepped forward and said, Eldest miss, please, you're bullying me. I'm going to tell grandmother. Then she hurriedly ran off. Tianxin watched her go and said, she doesn't know what's good for her. Why should mother be angry? If you get too angry, it will harm your health. The only one who would be heartbroken is Exiner. Muccio smiled. All right, I'll listen to Exiner and won't be angry anymore. Let's not talk about this. I heard the academy will start selecting students in the coming days. For the next 2 days, put aside your medical books and review what your teacher has taught you. She nodded. Exiner will listen to mother. Muccio instructed, the academy's enrollment quota is very small this year, and the selection system is also very strict. But you are mature and have your own opinions, so I'm not worried. I'm just worried about you. Look at her now. Her heart is set on getting married. How can she have any mind for studying? Muccio replied, regardless of what she thinks, she must do what needs to be done, both in her heart and for appearance's sake. Yesterday, I already selected a few books. Su Xing, go and give them to Yuer. Tianxin stood up and said, I'll take them. Su Xing should stay and take care of mother, otherwise I won't be at ease. Hearing this, she laughed and asked, You little smarty, what is there not to be at ease about? Su Xing stepped forward and said, the young miss is concerned about the madam's health. This servant must take careful care of her. I'll have to trouble the young miss with delivering the books. She held the books and said, it's just a short walk. What's the trouble? Mother, I'm going now. Muccio smiled and praised. Exiner is truly becoming more and more sensible. At this moment, in Chanyu's courtyard, she was angrily scolding a servant. You fool, giving me such hot water to drink. Are you trying to scald me to death? Then she threw the cup to the ground and chased the servant away. Get out. The servant fell to the ground and cried out. Tianxin stepped inside, saw this scene, and asked, older sister is in a bad mood and taking it out on a maid. Aren't you afraid that if word gets out, it will damage that gentle reputation of yours? She gritted her teeth and asked, what are you doing here? My place does not welcome a hypocrite like you. Tianxin continued, to be honest, I also despise someone as self-righteous, unreasonable, and vicious as you. Hearing this, she became furious, picked up a cup, and threw it towards Tianxin, cursing, Tianxin, on what grounds do you say that about me? Tianxin tilted her head, dodging the cup. She angrily shouted, "Get out of here from me." Tianxin threw the 2 books in her face. She said with a cold and angry face, "If it weren't to deliver these books, do you think I'd want to see you? In any case, I've delivered Mother's kind intentions. If you don't want to read the books, then don't." She angrily stomped on the 2 books and said, "I don't need a hypocritical adoptive mother. If she truly had good intentions, she wouldn't have spoken to me like that just now, nor would she have locked my mother in some gloomy Buddhist hall." Hearing this, Tianxin angrily slapped her. She held her face and shouted, "You dare to hit me?" Tianxin said sternly, "You slandered Mother. Why wouldn't I dare to hit you?" She gritted her teeth and lunged forward. "You bitch, I'll fight you to the death." Lu Yin immediately ran up to block in front of Tianxin, protecting her, and said, "Hongmei, are you dead? Hurry up and stop your master. If she hurts my young miss, see how the old madam will skin you all alive." Hearing this, Hongmei hurriedly ran over and hugged Tianyu's leg, pleading, "Eldest miss, please calm down. She is the legitimate miss." She frowned, then kicked Hongmei away, cursing, "Get lost. You wretched slave, are you blind? Can't you see Hua Tianxin is about to walk all over me? If you're not going to help, then don't side with an outsider. Get lost." Tianxin said to Tianyu with a cold face, "Hua Tianyu, let me give you a piece of advice. You'd be better off using your energy to read a few more pages and prepare for the exam the day after tomorrow, to avoid embarrassing Father again." Tianyu angrily asked, "You little bitch, do I need you to teach me what to do?" She won't listen to reason. "Louis, let's go." Then she turned and left. Tianyu angrily gritted her teeth and said, "Hua Tianxin, I'm not done with you over this." After that, she ran to the Buddhist hall to see Ruo Chiu. As soon as she saw her, Ruo Chiu said, "You finally come to visit Concubine Mother." Concubine Mother thought you didn't want me anymore. She immediately said, "You're not dead yet. What are you crying for?" Upon hearing this, Ruo Chiu was stunned and then said, All right, Concubine Mother won't cry. It's just how did your talk with the old matriarch go? When can Concubine Mother leave this godforsaken place?" She explained, "You made such a big mistake. It's not like you don't know it yourself. How could Grandmother forgive you so easily? Besides, I didn't come here today to talk about this." Hearing this, Ruo Chiu asked, "Then you came here because?" She said, "The day after tomorrow, I have to go to the academy to take the selection exam. I'm asking you, did Father really speak to the academy beforehand?" She smiled and said, "You can rest assured about this. When the time comes, you just need to show up. You will definitely pass." Hearing that, she was relieved. "That's good. Yesterday, that little bitch even used this to threaten me. I thought there was some change at the academy. It's good that there's nothing wrong." Hearing this, Ruo Chiu hurriedly asked her, "Then what about Concubine Mother's matter?" She frowned and scolded, "What's the rush? You are my biological mother. Could I possibly forget you? It's just that right now, that pair of bitches is very favored by Grandmother and Father. I have to slowly think of a way." Ruo Chiu hurriedly grabbed her hand and said, "Then you must hurry. If that bitch stays with the general and gives birth to a young master, it will be even harder for us to rise up." She pulled her hand back, "I know. You just stay here and wait for Grandmother's anger to subside. You will surely be released." Hearing that, she still urged, "Then Concubine Mother will wait for you. You must not forget Concubine Mother." On Tianxin's side, she dreamt that she was wearing a wedding dress, sitting and waiting on the bed. The door was opened. A man walked closer, took a Rui's scepter, and lifted her veil. Then he leaned down and kissed her forehead, saying, "Little girl, you are mine." As soon as she saw the person's face, she screamed, "No." Then she sat up, gasping for breath. Lu Yi worriedly dropped the water basin in her hands and ran in, asking, "Young miss, what's wrong? Did you have a nightmare?" She was dazed, so it was a dream. "It scared me to death." Lu Yi came forward and said, "That's right. The young miss must have had a nightmare due to the pressure going to the academy today. I'll have the kitchen make some pastries later. I guarantee the young miss will feel better after eating." She laughed when she heard that. "You have such a sweet mouth. Let's wash up and change first." Lu Yi immediately replied, "Yes." Then she came over to change Tianxin's clothes and recounted. "Early this morning, the madam gave instructions, saying the academy is a sacred place, and told this servant to help the young miss dress a bit more elegantly to make a good impression on the teachers." Hearing this, she thought to herself, "Is it really because I'm about to go to the academy and the pressure is high that I dreamt of that man? In my past life, I was killed by Tianyu before I could even marry him. We clearly never got married. So why did the scene feel so real?" After Lu Yi finished dressing her, she praised. This way the young miss looks both simple and refined. You will definitely be chosen by the teachers. She chatted affectionately. What nonsense are you talking about? The academy values a candidate's literary talent, not their clothes. All right, stop joking around. Let's go to the main hall first. Don't keep grandmother and mother waiting. Lu Yi nodded. That's true, but the madam taught us this, so there must be a reason for it. The young miss will definitely pass the exam. Tianxin and Lu Yi walked to the corridor. She looked up and was startled to see Tianyu in front of her, dressed in a brilliant outfit, with her maid Hong Mei standing behind her. As soon as she saw her, Tianyu sneered. I say, little sister Exa, you are the legitimate miss of the general's mansion, after all. Dressing so poorly, aren't you afraid of being laughed at by outsiders? Tianxin replied, you should worry about yourself. I don't need your concern. Hearing this, Tianyu gritted her teeth. With Tianxin, don't be ungrateful. Hong Mei, behind her, advised, eldest miss, don't be angry. The legitimate miss must be jealous of your beauty and said that on purpose. Tianyu was arrogant and pleased. That's right. That little bitch is just like her half-dead mother. So sanctimonious that she's uninteresting. Just wait until we get to the academy. I'll make her regret it. After that, the group went into the main hall and sat down at the table. Old Madam Hua smiled and asked, Exana, you'll be going to the academy soon. How have you prepared? Tianxin answered confidently, Grandmother, rest assured, Xi will definitely pass the exam smoothly. Tianyu cut in, Grandmother, you will definitely bring glory to the general's mansion and not disappoint Grandmother. Hearing this, she nodded in satisfaction. That's good. After you finish breakfast, you can set off. Don't be late. After finishing breakfast, the group walked to the mansion gate. Outside the gate, a horse-drawn carriage was already waiting. Muchio instructed, Tianxin, when you get to the academy, you must make friends with others. Also, there are many noble and powerful families at the academy, so don't stand out too much in anything you do. The knowledge the teachers impart is precious. You must listen diligently. Tianxin nodded. Yes, Xi remembers. Muchio smiled. That's good. You may go. Lu Yi, you must take good care of the young miss during this time. Lu Yi replied, Rest assured, madam, this servant will not leave the young miss's side for a moment. She turned to her and said, Exener, be careful. Then she got into the carriage first. The carriage immediately set off for the academy. The moment the carriage stopped in front of the academy's entrance, it attracted the attention of many people. Look, isn't that the carriage from the general's mansion? Isn't the eldest young master of the general's mansion studying at the academy? There's something you don't know. This time, it's the two young misses from the general's mansion who have come. Tianxin was still sitting in the carriage, peeking outside. Tianyu had already stepped out of the carriage first, wearing a confident smile. Seeing her, everyone started to gossip. Indeed, the woman in front is as beautiful as a fairy. Could she be the legitimate daughter of the general's mansion? Don't talk nonsense. That young miss looks like the eldest Mississippi. The eldest miss was born of a concubine. Only then did Tianxin leisurely step down from the carriage. As soon as people saw her, they began to gossip. In that case, the simple woman with the small figure behind her must be the legitimate young miss. The daughter of a concubine is dressed more ostentatiously than the legitimate daughter. Isn't this General Hua a treacherous man who favors his concubine over his wife? That's right. I heard back then that General Hua and Commandery Princess Mu had a very good relationship. It seems it was all a lie. Hearing this gossip, Tianyu cursed this bunch of lowly people. Just then, Yinchi stepped forward and spoke up. Old General Hua is a meritorious official who quelled rebellions. How can you be allowed to gossip so recklessly here? Seeing her, everyone was surprised. Why is the young miss of the Duke's mansion here too? She asked, the academy isn't your house, so why can't I come? Furthermore, she ran over and pulled Tianxin close, shielding her. What Tianxin is my good sister. If I hear anyone gossiping behind her back again, don't blame me for turning against you. Hearing this, everyone whispered among themselves, I heard this young miss is not to be trifled with. Once on the street, a man accidentally bumped into her and had his arm broken. Then let's not clash with her. Disperse. Tianxin praised, so Sister Yinchi's reputation is so renowned. Chinner is truly impressed. Yinchi said softly, you silly girl, and you call us good sisters. You didn't even tell me you were coming to the academy. She replied, I didn't know you were coming either. Besides, it's not too late to know now. Yinchi smiled, that's true. But with little sister XNR here, it will surely be more interesting than when I was alone. Tianxin asked curiously, then where is Sister Yatong? Did she come to the academy too? Just then, Yatong ran up and appeared between the two, shouting, of course. How could I not be at such a lively place? Seeing her, both Tianxin and Yinshi were startled. Yinshi exclaimed, good heavens, are you a ghost? You walk without a sound, appearing as soon as you're mentioned. Yatong said, you have the nerve to say that. Didn't I say we would go together today? I even had my coachman make a detour to the Duke's mansion, only to find out you had already left early in the morning. Yinshi hurriedly ran over to massage Yatong's shoulders. Don't be angry. You know my mother's impatient nature. She dragged me out of bed before dawn. By the time I was fully awake, I was already at the academy. How could I remember anything else? Yatong ran over and pushed Tianxin along. This young miss is still angry. Little sister Exen, let's go in first. Let's ignore this person who doesn't keep her word. Yinshi, with tears in her eyes, said, good sister, don't leave me. I won't do it again. Afterwards, the three young misses laid down together on the lawn. Yinshi, with a blade of grass in her mouth, said, I'd say your mother is too kind, just locking up that wicked concubine mother. If it were my family, she would have been locked in a pigsty and put to death long ago. Yatong said, little sister Exiner's family has an old madam devoted to Buddhism, who always lets things slide if possible. It's not like your family, which is never peaceful, where getting rid of someone is as common as stepping on an ant. Tianxin asked curiously, is Sister Yinshi's family that lively? Yinshi brandished her whip and replied, it's more than just lively. The whip at my waist is used daily either for self-defense or to protect others. There's never a peaceful day. After hearing this, Tianxin and Yatong broke out in a cold sweat. She couldn't help but ask, then aren't you tired, sister? Yinshi replied, I'm used to it. In the capital, which mansion doesn't have its own pile of troubles. They look glorious on the outside, but it's a different scene behind closed doors. Who is really cleaner than anyone else? Yatong, lying on the grass, said, my family is very peaceful. Luckily, my mother found a henpecked father. If my father really had 3 wives and 4 concubines, based on my mother's personality, she would have torn the whole house down sooner or later. Hearing that, Yinshi and Tianxin exclaimed, your mother is truly formidable. Yatong smiled. It's not that my mother is formidable, but that she found a good husband. That's why I've always believed that I, too, will encounter a scene like in the plays. One couple for one lifetime, together for all of eternity. Tianxin was skeptical. Together for all of eternity? Is there really such a thing as a promise for all of eternity? Just then, a sound was heard. She immediately turned her head and asked, who's hiding behind the tree? A man stepped out. As soon as she saw him, Yatong was startled. 5th Prince. Hearing this, Yinshi raised an eyebrow and wondered, why would the 5th Prince come to the female examination grounds instead of studying? The 5th Prince smiled and said, I was just passing by and happened to overhear the 3 young misses talking. I hope the 3 of you won't blame me. Yinshi immediately asked, the 5th Prince is also interested in listening to girls' topics? Aren't you afraid your brothers will find out and laugh at you? The 5th Prince replied, Miss Su is joking. I did not intend to eavesdrop. She asked in surprise, you know me? The 5th Prince asked, Miss Su of the Duke's mansion, famous in the capital for her straightforward personality. I have heard a little. I just don't know who this young miss is. Tianxin curtsied and introduced herself. This humble girl, Hua Tianxin, pays her respects to the 5th Prince. The 5th Prince nodded. So you are the maternal grandchild of my imperial aunt. In that case, we are one family. Tianxin replied, oh, that's right. She thought to herself, claiming kinship right after we've met. He's not reserved at all. Suddenly, the 5th Prince took her hand and said with a smile, I heard that you were the one who submitted the prescription to my imperial father, which made it possible to eradicate the plague in the city. Another day, I must ask for guidance from little sister Exiner. She said softly, you're too kind. I was just lucky with my guess. She thought to herself, oh my God, he's already calling me little sister. You royals really like to get familiar so quickly. Just then, someone waved and called out, the 3 young misses, the examination is about to begin. Please proceed to the examination hall. The group hurriedly said, Your Highness, we're going to the exam first. We'll talk another day. The 5th Prince watched Tianxin leave and thought, Hua Tianxin, I didn't expect you to be so young. I wonder if my older brothers will be as surprised as I am when they see you. The academy is going to be lively this time. Inside the classroom, the students had all gathered and were sitting properly in their seats. Their teacher spoke up to introduce herself. My surname is Gu, and my name is Yin Shuang. I am a female teacher at Handan Academy. Although all of you here are daughters of officials from noble families in the capital, for this exam, I will. At the back of the class, Yatong began to whisper. I heard the academy is only enrolling 20 people this time, but 50 or 60 people have registered. The pressure for the exam is really high. Tianxin was surprised. I didn't expect the academy to have female teachers. Su Yinshi explained, our dynasty has an open-minded culture. Not only are there female teachers, but there are also female officials. On the podium, Gu Yinshuang was still speaking. This examination has no strict rules. As long as you're illiterate and have a specialty, you will be considered. We will now test each person individually. When I call your name, please come up. The first person, Zhong Jinghuai. The girl whose name was called stood up with a confident smile. She curtsied and greeted. This humble girl, Zhong Jinghuai, pays her respects to the teacher. Gu Yinshuang pointed to the paper and asked, do you know these 8 characters? She nodded. Yes, I do. To establish one's virtue, be like the flourishing pine. These 8 characters are from the 1,000-character classic. I didn't expect the first student to be so knowledgeable. Very good, very good. So what is your specialty? She curtsied and replied, this humble girl has learned a little about the qin. May I try playing? She sat down and began to play the instrument. A murmur of discussion arose from the class below. She can actually play such a difficult piece? So impressive. This isn't something one can achieve by just learning a little. The difference between her and me is like heaven and earth. I'll probably fail this exam. Gu Yinshuang smiled with satisfaction. Very good. This piece is high mountains and flowing water. It's tranquil and serene. I didn't expect someone so young to have such profound skill with the qin. Truly talented. Being praised, she stood up with a confident smile. Teacher overpraises me. The student should still strive to do better. Gu Yinshuang nodded. All right, you may go down first. Let's continue. Next person, Xia Yuandong. The girl who was called stood up and answered yes. Gu Yinshuang took out another piece of paper and asked, do you know the characters on here? The girl hesitated, replying to the teacher, Yuan Dong does not know. Gu Yinshuang frowned. It says the capitals of Huaxia, the 2 capitals of the East and West, also taken from the 1,000-character classic. You may step down. Next, Su Yinshi. She confidently strode forward and curtsied. Teacher Gu, I didn't expect it to be my turn so soon. Gu Yinshuang angrily slammed the table and scolded. You are the young miss of the Duke's mansion, yet you walk like a loafer. Stand up straight for me. She fearfully dropped her nonchalant demeanor and replied, yes. Teacher, please give me the question. Gu Yinshuang took out a piece of paper and held it up. Su Yinshi mumbled as she read. High officials in accompanying carriages, their fame resounding through the valleys. She glanced at Gu Yinshuang, her tone suggestive. Teacher, it's not that you don't want to see me, so you deliberately chose such complicated characters for me to read, is it? Gu Yinshuang coughed. Don't talk nonsense. This stack of papers was prepared by the academy and has nothing to do with me. Su Yinshi rested her chin on her hands in front of Gu Yinshuang's desk. Curious. I think a virtuous teacher like you wouldn't bicker with a little girl in her teens like me, right? Gu Yinshuang forced a smile. That's a matter of course. Qin, Go, poetry, or painting. Choose one of your own accord. Su Yinshi smirked. My father praises my calligraphy as being excellent, so I'll write a piece. Immediately, paper was brought before her. She picked up the brush and began to write. After a while, the calligraphy was finally completed. Tianxin, watching from below, was astonished. Sister is too bold, teasing the teacher in front of so many people. Isn't she afraid the teacher will kick her out? Jatom explained. What does she have to be afraid of? She's a little troublemaking demoness. Let alone the teacher. Even the headmaster gets a headache when he sees her. Su Yinshi then turned and asked, Teacher, please have a look at my writing. Gu Yinshuang nodded in praise. The writing is fluid and lively. It's just that the brush strength is still weak and needs more practice. After speaking, she ticked off Su Yinshi's name and called out. Next, Hua Tianxin. Hearing her name, Tianxin stood up. Yatong, beside her, Anjuragit. Go for it, Exiner. Tianxin stepped forward and bowed. Student Hua Tianxin pays her respects to Teacher Gu. Teacher Gu pointed to the paper and asked, Do you recognize the characters at the top of this page? She said softly, replying to teacher. The 8 characters on the page are Huan Gong Quang He, Ji Rua Fu Qing. Gu Yinshuang smiled and asked, You are correct. So what are you skilled in? she replied. This untalented student wishes to paint a picture and hopes for the teacher's guidance. Immediately, someone brought up a sheet of paper. Miss Hua, please. Tianxin picked up the brush and began to paint. Gu Yinshuang stared at her, thinking to herself, I have heard about the legitimate first miss of the general's manor before. Not only did she create a cure for the plague, but she also presented it to the emperor to save the people of the capital. She is truly a rare woman in this world. After finishing the painting, she smiled. Teacher, this student is finished. Gu Yinshuang nodded in praise. Good. A very beautiful painting of a mountain spirit. The brushwork is clean, delicate, and profound. For someone so young to be able to capture such a mood is truly rare. Tianxin smiled shyly. This student was merely being clumsy, basing it on the paper that Sister Yinchi wrote on. Hearing this, all the young ladies inside exclaimed in admiration. Yatong, from below, said excitedly, Younger Sister Exiner's painting skills are truly excellent. Don't be so modest. Teacher Gu rarely praises others. Tianyu, sitting to one side, saw her being praised and gritted her teeth in anger. Damn bitch. On what basis can she attract attention wherever she goes? I absolutely cannot lose to her. Gu Yinshuang then called out, You may return to your seat for now. Next person, Hua Tianyu. She stood up, smiling smugly and thinking, It's finally my turn. All of you, open your eyes wide and watch. She stepped forward and bowed. Student Hua Tianyu has met Teacher Gu. The moment Gu Yinshuang saw her, she thought to herself, to dress and wear such flashy makeup in a sacred place like the academy. Compared to that legitimate first miss, she is truly far inferior. Teacher Gu nodded. First, identify the characters. A piece of paper was brought over. She read, replying to teacher, the characters on the page are heaven and earth were dark and yellow. The universe was vast and primordial. She thought to herself, luckily, I recently read a book and learned these 2 lines. I don't know any others. Gu Yinshuang asked, what are you skilled in? She asked back, teacher, is dancing acceptable? Hearing this, the other young misses burst out laughing. Dancing? What place does she think this is? That's right, wearing heavy rouge and powder is one thing, but to make such an absurd request, what does she take us for? A daughter of a concubine like her, how much knowledge could she possibly have? She definitely won't pass this test. Gu Yinshuang glanced at her and said, prepare the music. You may begin. The music started, and Tianyu began to dance. The moment the young misses saw her dance, they praised her. Heavens, she can dance so well. She's simply a fairy descended to the mortal world, so beautiful. Yatong then moved closer and whispered to Tianxin, Exiner, she's dancing the mountain spirit, right? She said softly. It looks similar. I didn't know she had prepared this. Yinchi said, this daughter of a concubine really has some skill. To be able to dance like that based on the words I wrote, and your painting, it can be considered showing off her talent. Yatong spoke up. In that case, she's not entirely useless. At least when it comes to dancing, we can't compare to her. Outside, the 5th prince was hiding behind a wall, watching the examination. He said, Old Ninth, look at that dancing young lady. She's as swift as a willow branch in the wind, truly moving one's heart. Hearing this, Ming Lang asked back, 5th brother, have you taken a liking to her? After the examination, everyone went outside together. Yinchi asked Tianxin, what's with that concubine-born sister of yours? She was just staring outside as if she'd seen gold, not taking her eyes off it for a second. She was surprised. I don't know either. We should get going. It's late, and we haven't even had lunch yet. Yinchi comforted her. Don't worry, my 2nd and 4th brothers are both teachers at the academy. With me here, I absolutely won't let you go hungry. Hearing this, Tianxin was astonished. Your brothers are that impressive? Yatong beside them chimed in. It's not just impressive. The legitimate eldest young master and the 2nd young master of the Duke's Manor are the libationers of Handan Academy. They hold the entire academy in their hands. Otherwise, why would she have dared to be so brazen in front of the teacher just now? Hearing that, Tianxin looked at Yinchi with sparkling eyes. So this is what it's like to be next to a wealthy person. At the dining hall, as soon as the female students sat down, they exclaimed in surprise. Quick, look who's here. It's actually the 9th prince. Ming Lang walked inside. His gaze swept around and landed on Tianxin. Seeing her eating a steamed bun, he raised his hand and called out, Long time no see, junior sister. Hearing this, Su Yinchi immediately looked at her and said, Junior sister, is there something fishy going on? Yinchi stood up and asked, 9th prince, who are you calling junior sister? Ming Lang replied. The three of you are all new students about to enroll. So aren't you my junior sisters? Hearing this, Yitong asked. Is that so? Ming Lang continued. Speaking of which, we haven't met since old Madam Ho's birthday celebration. You two young misses have become more and more beautiful. Tianxin frowned and thought. Such a smooth talker. Yitong asked him, the three of us are sitting at the same table. Why does your highness the ninth prince only praise me and sister Yanxi? Could it be that you don't see younger sister Xina? Ming Lang explained. Praising you too is a courtesy. Between me and younger sister Xina, there's no need for such pleasantries. Isn't that right, Xina? Startled at being addressed by him, Tianxin said, I've only met you a few times, haven't I? Don't call me like that. Hearing this, Yitong immediately said, so you have met a few times. Yanxi sighed. It's not that simple, not simple at all. As soon as Tianxin heard that, she immediately pushed them both away and said, what are you two whispering about behind my back? Don't think I can't hear you. Jiatong Tist, you admitted it yourself. We're just expanding on the discussion a little. Yanxi added, that's right. Words like that always make people's imaginations run wild. Hua Tianyu, seeing this from the side, frowned slightly and voluntarily stepped forward to greet him. This humble girl, Hua Tianyu, met your highness once before at my grandmother's birthday banquet. I wonder if your highness has any impression? Ming Lang replied, Mem, I remember. A very deep impression. Hearing this, the other young misses started discussing. It started out so well. It ended abruptly halfway through, and later we only heard it was because a concubine in the manor had a miscarriage. I didn't expect there was also a poisoning drama. She's the daughter of that poisonous woman. We should stay a bit further away from her. To avoid provoking her, we might not even know how he died. Hearing this gossip, Tianyu angrily scolded. Shut up. My mother is not a bad person, and I'm not a bad person either. All of you shut your mouths. Yanxi cleaned her ear and said, the dining hall was quiet. What are you making a fuss for? If you're not eating, then get out. You're not welcome here. Hearing that, she turned to Ming Lang and said, Your Highness the Ninth Prince, I. But he paid her no mind and went to pour tea. Xiner, have some tea. Tianxin was confused upon hearing this. Tianyu glared at her angrily and thought, Damn bitch, it's all your fault that I've ended up like this. I will definitely not let you off. Tianxin, along with Yitong and Yanxi, looked towards Ming Lang with sparkling eyes. At that moment, he was picking up a piece of fish and said, You're still growing? Eat some more fish. Then he smiled, silently adding, to get smarter. She looked at that fish and thought, what is this guy doing? Is he implicitly calling me stupid? She quickly waved her hands. This humble girl is not fortunate enough to enjoy such a good thing. Your Highness the Ninth Prince should enjoy it yourself. He laughed and said, Why be so distant with me? Besides, I said it just now, the Academy doesn't distinguish between ranks. You can just call me by my name. Tianyu at the side spoke up. Xiner, don't refuse His Highness Ming Lang's kindness. The moment Yanxi heard this, she choked on her soup. Yitong, beside her, spoke up to comfort her. You can even choke on soup. You're really so careless. Yanxi glanced at Tianyu and scolded in a cold voice. This concubine-born sister of yours is ridiculous. Is the prince's name something you can call out? You've really gotten used to a comfortable life in the general's manor. You've even forgotten basic seniority. Hearing that, she hurriedly argued. But His Highness Ming said it himself just now. Ming Lang glanced at her coldly and asked, What did this prince say? She stammered. Your Highness said. Ming Lang frowned and grunted. She hurriedly explained. The Academy doesn't distinguish between ranks. You told us to call you by your name. He feigned confusion. Did I say that? The others quickly replied, replying to Your Highness, no. Hearing this, she gritted her teeth. You people. Ming Lang glanced at Ajong. Ajong immediately understood his meaning, stepped forward, took her arm, and said, Eldest miss, please. Seeing Tianyu finally being dragged away, Yanxi broke into a smile. The eyesore is finally gone. Now we can eat in peace. Hearing this, Ming Lang shot a brief, unfriendly glance towards Yanxi and Yitong. Yanxi was frightened. Oh my god, that look is so scary. Yitong said quietly. So it turns out we're also eyesores in the prince's eyes. Let's go. The two girls hurriedly ran off. Seeing this, Tianxin called out, Those two run really fast. Ming Lang rested his chin on his hand and asked, Xiner, do you have any plans tonight? If not, how about I show you around the academy? She asked, Your Highness, you don't seize the time to study. Are you this free every day? He answered nonchalantly, Studying also requires talent. For someone like me, this prince, who reads quickly and has a photographic memory, there's no need to compare myself to those who study hard. At this moment, the untalented one who was studying hard, Hua Tian Tianbei was walking past holding a stack of books and called out to her, "Exiner." As soon as Tianqin saw him, she shot up and called out, "Brother." Minglang glanced towards Hua Tianbei and asked, "Hua Tianbei, the exam is this afternoon. Why aren't you reviewing your lessons, and what are you doing here?" Hua Tianbei explained, "I heard the new female students have arrived. Exa must be here too, so I came over to see her." Ming Lang subtly dismissed him. "Well, you've seen her now, so you should go back and review your lessons. After all, the days are long. There's no rush." Hua Tianbei was puzzled upon hearing this. Tianqin looked at Ming Lang with a judgmental expression and asked, "You are my brother's classmate. He studies diligently while you're busy playing. Aren't you afraid of failing the exam and disgracing the royal family?" Ming Lang gave a confident smile. "Rest assured, they are no match for me." Tianqin continued, "Your Highness's skin is truly unparalleled in its thickness. I'm impressed. I'm impressed." Afterwards, Gu Yin announced, "The exam results are out. Will the young misses please come to the study hall?" Just now, looking at the board, everyone rushed over to look and were shocked. No way. Over 100 of us took the exam, and only this many people passed? Yinshi covered her face and asked Yadong, "I'm so nervous. Can you quickly check if my name is on the list?" Yadong said, hum, and then was utterly astonished. She saw that the names of Hua, Tianxin, Fu Yadong, and Su Yinshi were all on the paper. At this moment, Yinshi breathed a sigh of relief. That was a close call. "I thought Teacher Gu would give me a hard time." Ming Lang walked over at this time and asked, "Young Miss Su, that's not right. Teacher Gu would be too busy avoiding you. How could he possibly play any tricks?" Yadong laughed and said, Normally you're as bold as the sky, but when it matters, you become a paper tiger." Hearing this, Yinshi became indignant. "You wretched girl, you dare call me a paper tiger. Watch me show you what I've got." Then the two of them immediately ran off. Seeing this, Tianqin held her head and sighed. "You two are so childish. Stop chasing. Be careful not to fall." Ming Lang smiled and asked her, You're clearly the youngest. It's very normal to be playful. Why call it childish?" She was surprised by your Highness's meaning. "Could it be that you like girls with an outgoing personality?" He patted her head. "Silly girl, what are you talking about? I just want you to be happy. Don't keep frowning. It's not cute at all." Hearing this, her face turned bright red, and she pushed him away. "Whether I'm cute or not, what does that have to do with your Highness? In the future, you're not allowed to approach me for no reason." Upon hearing this, Yadong and Yinshi were both stunned. Just then, someone came in carrying 3 sets of uniforms and said, "Young misses, these are the student uniforms of Handan Academy. From now on, you can only wear this to class. In addition, the Academy's rules are also recorded in detail here. Please read them carefully after you return. Now I will take you to your assigned rooms." After leading them to the location, the person introduced, "This is the student's rear courtyard. Inside are your living quarters. The room to the east belongs to the female steward. If you need anything, just find her." The 3 of them nodded and replied, hum, we know." The person bowed and said, "Then you may go in and choose your rooms. I have to go help out in the front courtyard." Yinshi asked him, "So, does the Academy have any arrangements for tonight?" The person replied, "No, you are free to do as you please, but you must wake up early tomorrow to familiarize yourselves with the Academy environment." As Yinshi was walking, she suddenly tripped and let out a cry. Tianqin quickly ran over and said, "Sister Yinshi, be careful." Yinshi sighed in relief. "This place is so slippery, it almost made me fall." Luckily, Exiner was quick. Tianqin grabbed Yinshi's wrist and thought with a start, "This pulse." She quickly found an excuse. "This place hasn't been lived in for a long time. The ground is covered in moss. You can't be careless when walking. Also, I suddenly remembered I have to bring something to my brother, so I won't go in. Sisters, please help me pick a room." Yadong smiled and replied, "Then you go ahead. Rest assured, we will definitely pick a good room for you." Tianqin frowned and thought to herself, "Sister Yinshi's pulse is weak and empty. It's not normal at all. Could it be that I misread her pulse?" She recalled what Yinshi had said earlier. "I've forgotten. In the capital, which mansion doesn't have a pile of nonsense? On the surface, things look wonderful, but once the doors are closed, it's a different show. No one is cleaner than anyone else." She ran to find Ming Lang to ask for a favor. "Your Highness, I want to ask you for a favor." Hearing this, he asked in surprise, "Little girl, didn't you keep emphasizing that we are not close and have no relation? Why did you think of asking me for a favor?" She grumbled, "Why do you hold such a grudge? Is it not enough for me to apologize to you?" Ming Lang burst out laughing. "Silly girl, I'm just teasing you. Besides, I saw your unusual expression just now. I guess you're probably asking me for a favor because of young Miss Su Yinshi, right? Hearing this, she was startled and said, huh. Then she recounted, just now, I took Sister Yinshi's pulse and found that her pulse is very similar to the fish intestine pulse in the 7 terminal pulses. The 7 terminal pulses are a death pulse. Ming Lang nodded. Su Yinshi is the legitimate daughter of the Duke's mansion. Every month, a doctor checks her pulse for well-being. It's impossible that it wasn't discovered. She frowned. That's where the problem lies. If it's a death pulse, why didn't the doctor diagnose it? If it was diagnosed, why was nothing said? Hearing this, Ming Lang was startled. Ex-Siner, do you mean that someone in the Duke's mansion wants to harm her? She nodded with an hum. Therefore, I want to ask your highness to secretly invite an imperial physician to diagnose Sister Yinshi. She curtsied. Regardless of whether the result is good or not, Ex-Siner would like to thank your highness in advance. He said softly, silly girl, that you could think of me in a time of crisis already makes me very happy. Don't be so formal with me in the future. I will have my guard invite an imperial physician tonight. Can you rest assured now? She smiled and replied, all right, I'll follow your lead. He patted her head. Silly girl, I will arrange this matter properly. You should go back first. Don't stay out too long. It will make them worry. As soon as Tianxin returned to the rear courtyard, she saw Tianbei. She asked in surprise, brother, why are you here? Yinshi, who was tidying up the room, heard this and explained he arrived just after you left. I was afraid he wouldn't be able to find you if you went out, so I told him to stay and wait. It was just in time to help us tidy up. Tianxin said, having brother help you tidy up was your real purpose, wasn't it? Hu Tianbei asked her. Sister Yadong said you brought something for me? Hearing this, she thought with a start, oh no, I just made that up on the spot. I didn't expect him to believe it. Hu Tianbei smiled and urged, quickly let me see what mother had you bring for me. She put her hands on her hips and scolded. What are you thinking? Mother told me to tell you to study hard. If you fail this time, father will definitely not be happy. Hu Tianbei smiled and said, don't worry, brother will definitely not disappoint father. Tianxin nodded, hum. With your words, I can rest assured. Brother, you go on with your work. I'm going to find Sister Yinshi. She ran inside the residence. Yinshi asked, Ex-Siner, this is the room I specially chose for you. Yadong has already tidied it up a bit. Come in quickly and see if you like it. She took Yinshi's hand and replied, I'll look later. I want to take you somewhere first. Then she immediately pulled Yinshi away, causing her to ask with a start, where are we going in such a hurry? Tianxin quickly led Yinshi to a pavilion, where Ming Lang was already waiting. Yinshi was curious. Ex-Siner, why did you bring us here? Her tone became serious. Sister Yinshi, I have something to tell you. This stunned Yinshi. Ex-Siner, don't tell me you want to arrange your own marriage with the 9th prince and then elope. No matter how much courage I have, I'd be scared by that. Yadong angrily tapped Yinshi's head and scolded. What nonsense are you talking about? Ex-Siner is not that kind of person. Yinshi sighed. It's because I was scared. Tianxin recounted, today, when you almost fell, I accidentally touched your pulse and found that Sister Yinshi's health is a bit unwell. Ming Lang continued, yes, Ex-Siner was worried about you, so she specially asked me to invite Imperial Physician Zeng from the palace to take your pulse, young Miss Su. Imperial Physician Zeng sat down at the stone table and took Yinshi's pulse. Tianxin asked worriedly from the side, Imperial Physician Zeng, is Sister Yinshi all right? He replied, it's nothing serious, just a very cold constitution. Her menstrual cycle needs to be carefully regulated. Hearing this, Yinshi sighed, I told you I'm as healthy as an ox. What are you all worried about? Yadong spoke up from the side. Ex-Siner was just being well-intentioned. Since the Imperial Physician has said it's nothing serious, let's go back. Tianxin made an excuse. You two sisters go ahead. I'll see the Imperial Physician off and take the opportunity to thank the 9th prince. Yinshi stood up and nodded. All right, don't be too long, lest you miss dinner. She said softly, don't worry, I'll be back in a moment. After the two of them left, Tianxin looked towards the Imperial Physician. There are no outsiders here. The Imperial Physician can speak the truth now. Imperial Physician Zeng sighed. In my life, I have diagnosed a total of 30 terminal pulses. Among them, 2 with a fish intestine pulse. Young Miss Yinshi is the 3rd. Tianxin asked with a start, it really is the fish intestine pulse? Is there a cure? He replied, young Miss Hua has also studied medicine. You should know what the fish intestine pulse means. She frowned. The fish intestine pulse is one of the 7 terminal pulses. A terminal pulse has no cure. Ming Lang said, it's not necessarily incurable. You should know that she is the sixth young miss of the Duke's mansion. Who could get close to her and poison her so secretly without anyone knowing? Tianxin asked, do you mean you want me to follow this clue to find the person behind this? He nodded yes. If we can find the culprit, we might be able to ask for the antidote. This is not necessarily not a path to survival. She replied enthusiastically, I understand. Thank you, Your Highness. I'll go back and think of a way right away. He asked her, silly girl, what way can you think of now that you're in the academy? She replied, you're right. I really have no way to investigate the news of the Duke's mansion. He smiled. It's really not wrong to call you silly. Isn't there someone right in front of you who you can ask for help? Hearing this, she was surprised. You mean you're going to help me save Sister Hai? He said softly, whether the sixth young miss lives or dies has nothing to do with me. I just don't want to see you worried and sad, or else my heart will ache. The next day, Gu Yensong led the young misses who had been admitted to the academy on a tour. Handan Academy has a total of 3 books and 6 halls, covering areas such as poetry, national studies, horse riding, archery, physical training, medicine, pathology, and so on. In the future, you will all get to study them. Yatong said, I'm so hungry. The academy doesn't have any late-night snacks, so we have to go hungry all night. Yinshi was walking while dozing off, her stomach rumbling. Tianxin had dark circles under her eyes. Yatong angrily pointed at Yinshi. You still dare to speak? If it weren't for you oversleeping this morning, would we have missed breakfast? Yinshi said, don't be mad. I heard from my brother that there are some high-class eateries not far from the academy. Why don't we go out to find something to eat? Tianxin frowned. That's not a good idea. If Teacher Gu finds out, he'll expel us. Yinshi came over and put her arms around their shoulders, saying, what's there to be afraid of? Anyway, today is free activity time. Besides, if anything happens, I'll take the blame. Let's go quickly. I'm about to starve to death. The group was pulled outside. Standing in front of an eatery, Yinshi said, this is the most luxurious and delicious eatery in this area. A waiter ran out and greeted them. Please come inside, young misses. Yinshi said, don't just stand there. Let's go all out. This meal is on me. As soon as she finished speaking, Yatong and Tianxin rushed inside and said to the waiter, quick, let me see what delicious dishes you have. I want to eat everything. The waiter said, this humble one is not boasting, but our eatery is the best on this street. Please feel free to order whatever you'd like, young misses. It's guaranteed to be top-notch. Yatong said, we won't look at the menu. Just bring out whatever famous dishes you have. Yinshi mumbled, so careless. The waiter enthusiastically replied, yes, miss. This humble one will go instruct the kitchen to prepare it for you right away. After that, dishes were continuously brought out, each one looking incredibly colorful and eye-catching. Yinshi looked at the table, her eyes lighting up, and said, it smells so good. Let's dig in, sisters. Yatong and Tianxin immediately raised their glasses. Thank you, big boss. Cheers! Just as Tianxin scooped up a spoonful and brought it to her mouth, she was suddenly tapped on the shoulder. Startling her, Ming Lang approached and asked, today is the first day of classes at the academy, and you've already snuck out. Aren't you afraid Teacher Gu will find out and punish you? Tianxin was flustered upon seeing him. She crossed her arms and asked, didn't you sneak out too? He replied, I volunteer to go out and buy books for the academy. I'm not like you all. Yinshi smiled and asked, Your Highness, we just missed breakfast and were starving with no other choice. Could you perhaps pretend you didn't see anything? Ming Lang said indifferently, I'm not close with Miss Su Yinshi, and besides, the ancients taught that one must be honest. So really, seeing this, Yatong quickly whispered, Sister Tom, Ni has a good relationship with the ninth prince. Quick, use your connection. Hearing this, she frowned and asked, Since when do I have a good relationship with him? Yatong said it's worth a try. If the academy really finds out, we're done for. Hearing this, she sighed, then stood up with her cup and said, Your Highness is magnanimous and generous. Considering this is our first offense, please be lenient. Since it is Tom Ni who asks, then this time I'll pretend I saw nothing. After hearing this, all three girls were stunned. Yinshi came closer and said, I didn't expect Tom Ni's words to be so effective. Yatong nodded. She really has some skill. From now on, if we need anything from the ninth prince, we'll just have Tom Ni go. Yinshi nodded. Makes sense. Let's happily decide on that. Tianxin suddenly appeared with a cold face and asked, What are you two whispering about over there? Yinshi ran over to her and whispered, We were discussing where to go after we finish eating. Yatong waved her hand. Tom Ni, I see